you know, everything about this and having these guys being able to compete, you know, is great for them. It's going to be great for, like I said, mentally and physically.
These young men inside the ring, junior mixed martial arts action, set to get underway here in Pensacola. I was not able to check out the rules meeting, but I believe that there's no striking to the head. That might...
Which would be very fair. You know, I mean, I'm sure a few shots may sneak in.
Right.
They're wearing mouthpieces. But if there's no striking to head, I'd be okay with that.
It's all about the experience.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
All right, for our official introductions, here is Christopher James.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we go with our next bout of the evening. This one is set for 3 1.5-minute rounds in the Dean Toole Promotions Junior MMA division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. Standing 5 feet tall and weighing in at 97.9 pounds. Tonight, this young man makes his debut. Fighting out of Orlando, Florida, please welcome Blake Piper. His opponent, fighting out of the red corner. Standing 4 feet 9 inches tall and weighing in at 94.8 pounds. Tonight, he makes his debut. Fighting out of Gulf Breeze, Florida, please welcome Colby Shields.
Listen to the pop inside the Pensacola Bay Center for Colby Shields.
Yeah, already 13 years old, got more applause than me.
That's got to suck a little bit for you, right?
Yeah, it does.
Larry Downs Jr., our referee for this junior mixed martial arts bout. We are scheduled 3 90-second rounds. Immediately, Shields goes for a single leg and gets it, and it immediately into mount.
And I got to tell you, that was a beautiful sequence to the kick to the single leg.
Shots to the body there. And Shields in a really great situation here early. Needs to bide his time. These are short rounds, but he can't get too aggressive, can't get swept here.
No, I don't think he's going to get swept here. To me, it doesn't look as though Blake Piper is experienced on the ground. Just from his body language of when he got taken down, how he reacted on that shot, it doesn't look like he spent a lot of time on the ground.
Right hand to the body there by Shields.
I think if I was Shields, I would actually start to set up to try to get it, as he's doing now, try to set up an armbar submission here, because I don't think he has much to lose. If he loses position, I think he'd be able to recover.
I like what Shields did there as well. He moved Piper away from the ropes. The ropes can be a hindrance if you're going to try to, sit back for an armbar. S-mount here now. He's got that arm. Piper in trouble. There's the tap. It is done. Nicely done. Colby Shields victorious in his mixed martial arts debut. And look at this young man flaunting it a little bit inside the ring.
But I'll tell you that he earned it, and that was beautifully done, from the kick to the takedown to the control to the submission.
And I like the rules there. I mean, this is about getting experience, showing off your technique and skill, and Colby Shields did exactly that. This young man, 13 years old, he's a force.
And even Blake Piper, he'll learn about himself and go, he'll learn how to be a good loser. He lost tonight. He'll go back and say, you know what, if I want to do this again, I have to just train and be a little bit more prepared.
And most importantly, I mean, neither young man is hurt.
And nobody's hurt.
This is a really...
this is great.
All's well that ends well. And Colby Shields on top of the world tonight with that victory. Crowd came alive during his introduction, and as we get the official time of the stoppage, this place will go nuts for the young man.
Yeah, he will be at the 8th grade dance showing out.
All right, for the official time of the stoppage, here's Christopher James.
Ladies and gentlemen, first off, give both these young men a big round of applause. Making their debut in front of thousands of people, that's awesome. Our referee, Larry Downs Jr., calls a halt to this bout at 1:13 of round number 1. Declare your winner by submission due to an armbar, Colby Shields.
What a win. Colby Shields getting it done tonight inside the Pensacola Bay Center. Armbar stoppage. Christopher James will speak with our winner.
I'm going to talk to our young man right here, Colby Shields. Right there, that camera. Your debut fight, thousands of people. We got the cameras here. You were so calm and cool like you were a pro, man. How you feeling right now, buddy?
I feel good. I would just like to thank my coaches. I feel good. I would like to thank my coaches, Chico Mendez, Janosin B.A., and Scott, and especially my dad for making this all happen. I'd like to thank my opponent for coming out, and I'd like to thank my fans, all y'all. Thank you for coming out.
Hey, listen, man. Tonight, you know, probably later on tonight, they're going to show this on Ryoulive. That's pretty cool, Ryan. What do you think? Hey, and there's your buddy right there. You guys show a little love to each other, man. This is good stuff right here, guys. Oh, and Blake, what do you want to say, buddy?
Thanks, man, for this fight. Thank you.
That's awesome, man. You guys are awesome. That's the fight of the night right there. Guys, don't forget tonight, Ryoulive. Download the app. You get on the Apple Store. You can get it at the Google Play Store. Get that app. Watch the fights. Pay-per-view tonight, baby.
More mixed martial arts action is headed your way. You are watching Toole Promotions, Masvidal versus Pettis.
Bantamweights will look to show off their MMA skills when the 19-year-old Cam Bennett faces Josh Elliott. Straight ahead, it's the undefeated Cam Smiley Bennett versus Josh Elliott.
Yo, Supreme Patty here. Everyone download the Ryoulive app and come watch me knock this guy out exclusively on Ryoulive.
Supreme Patty making his boxing debut later tonight when he takes on Rudy Prieto, Instagram star, social media celebrity, Supreme Patty. You know, we've seen a lot of personalities from that side of the world actually get involved in combat sports, but they do it a little bit differently. They're not coming out and doing the amateur route.
No, I mean, you know, you got to give him props for putting his reputation on the line. You know, everybody comes out and says, oh, I want to fight this guy. You know, Justin Bieber calling out Tom Cruise. Oh, of course, call out Tom Cruise. But Supreme Patty putting his reputation on the line, getting out and fighting an unknown fight. And I talked to his coach, Charles Rosa. He said he's got some power.
And that's another thing, too. There's something to be said about combat sports sometimes being a cash grab for people. You go out, you have one fight, you make a bunch of money, and then you never think about it again. To come out here and compete, no purse, the only thing you're gaining is a win or a loss and then an amateur record, and then obviously the experience. Hats off to Supreme Patty.
Yeah, but is he really? I mean, not even experience for him. It's not like, I don't think he wants to make a career out of it. This is just something he wants to do, so that's great.
I did see him hitting pads, though, with Roy Jones Jr. Who gets to do that when you're...
God, I've never even done that.
Right. Supreme Patty, Rudy Prieto headed your way later on tonight, but we are scheduled for more mixed martial arts action as Josh Elliott is making the walk, 3-1 on his amateur career. I don't want to harp on this over and over again, but you look at the evolution of mixed martial arts over the years, Dean. There were a lot of guys that didn't really even want to fight. They just started training a little bit, and then someone in their gym was a fighter, and then all of a sudden they're fighting. You need to get out there and do it the right way, and you know, these gentlemen here tonight get that opportunity to come up, get a lot of experience before they turn pro, and you got to believe that if they do have a pro career, it's going to be better for, you know, fights like these.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, I've been around this game so long, especially here in Florida, and I know everybody, and I know the team that he comes from, and it's just, and I remember the head coach of the team that he's come from. I remember when he was coming up fighting, Shane was, I can't pronounce his last name, but Shane Wisniewski, or however you pronounce it, you might be better at it than I am.
Weinski?
Weinski. But I remember when he was fighting, but like you said, you know, these guys, they come up and like just to see the generations just be able to just go and watch it unfold is a beautiful thing for me.
And I think it's important for young fighters to know what it's like to not only get their hand raised, but to also taste defeat, to make the adjustments, and also just to make this walk. Long ramp here at Toole Promotions, huge arena. That needs to be done before you're fighting under the bright lights.
I can tell you this, that weight in the back before the walk is the most intimidating experience you'll ever feel in your life, and these guys are getting that experience tonight. Just being able to, that weight back there, and then when they say go, and then that walk, that's an amazing feeling. Like you can't recreate that nowhere.
Now making the walk is the man they call Smiley, Cam Bennett, 2-0, just 19 years old, represents Remedy Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So far, so good, and he wants to make it 3 in a row when he takes on Josh Elliott, 19 years old, Dean. That, I mean, there are times when we see fighters much more advanced in age make their mixed martial arts debut, but you got to believe when these kids are fighting and, you know, thinking about turning pro at 19, 20 years old, they get a long future ahead of them.
Yeah, they do. You know, when I see these kids at 19 years old and they come to me and they tell me they want to fight, first I think there must be something wrong with them.
Right.
But when they put in the work and they dedicate themselves and they show the commitment that it takes to be a fighter, it's impressive, because at 19, if you can dedicate yourself to do that, that means, you know, normal 19-year-olds partying and girls, or if you're a girl, guys, and you're going through all that. But when you're sacrificing all that to put your body through this mentally and physically, that says a lot.
And that's another thing, too. Being a fighter and training in mixed martial arts, it's not generally just a hobby. It becomes a lifestyle for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah, it's a lifestyle. And if you saw his whole train go by him, there's a lot of people that have worked with him, and they wouldn't be here if he didn't commit himself to this. So I almost have to expect a lot from this young man, considering the entourage that's come out here to support him. Because they wouldn't be here if he was a party animal.
You got to earn that, right?
You got to earn that type of support from your people.
Cam Smiley Bennett, Josh Elliott inside the ring for our official introductions of this an amateur bantamweight contest. Here's Christopher James.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we go with our next bout of the evening, scheduled for 3 3-minute rounds. And when the action starts inside the ring, our referee will be Mr. Larry Downs Jr. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, standing 5'7" and weighing in at 136.4 pounds. Tonight, he comes to the ring with a record of 3 wins and 1 defeat. Representing White Martial Arts and fighting out of Tallahassee, Florida, please welcome Josh Elliott. His opponent, fighting out of the red corner, standing 5'9" tall and weighing in at 140 pounds. Tonight, he comes to the ring with a record of 2 wins and 0 defeats. Representing Remedy Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, fighting out of Milton, Florida, please welcome Cam Smiley Bennett.
All of our amateur bouts tonight sanctioned by American Amateur Mixed Martial Arts. Presiding over this bout, Mr. Larry Downs Jr. Josh Elliott in the long shorts, Cam Smiley Bennett in the red and black. We are underway, 3 3-minute rounds. See Elliott setting up that kick to the lead leg of Bennett. Bennett trying to fire back with some left hands.
Bennett very composed. I do like that about him. It looks like he might be looking for a shot. When you're composed like that on your feet, you're looking for something big. You're trying to lull them to sleep.
Don't forget, later tonight, Jorge Gamebred Masvidal, Anthony Showtime Pettis, a huge super fight, grappling. These two fantastic mixed martial artists will take on one another. Ryoulive? Download the app, order the fight. TJ DeSantis, Dean Thomas here, Pensacola Bay Center, Pensacola, Florida. Dean Toole Promotions. See Smiley Bennett throwing a 1-2 combination, and Elliott continues to try to attack that lead leg. How much do the shin pads really change the leg attacks here?
You know, I mean, I think it's good for these, especially the amateurs, but I mean, it can still hurt. You know, it can still hurt depending on where you catch it, because it only covers the front part. You come around to the side and get to that back of that calf, you still feel the impact of it. And like that body shot right there, like that, you feel the impact of those body shots.
Halfway down here in round number 1, 90 seconds remain.
I think Josh Elliott would do himself some good by keeping the pressure on, because he knows that, you know, Cam Bennett is trying to relax a little bit. Put the pressure on him now and force him to fight.
All stand up thus far. No one has tried to take this one to the ground. Live stream starts very, very soon. Ryoulive. Make sure you download the app, Google Play Store, and of course, the Apple iTunes Store. Final minute here, we see Bennett trying to get a takedown. It's one of the things that are really different about mixed martial arts when it's fought in the cage in a ring. You're able to cut fighters off in a ring, put them in the corner, but in the cage, now big slam up coming here. Elliott put his hand down. Thankfully for him, he's okay, but unfortunately for him, side control here, nice cradle position for Bennett.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that he actually shot so late in the round. I mean, especially in a 3-minute round. You kind of, like, if you're better on the ground like this, you want to make sure you give yourself enough time to work.
15 seconds, a lot of time for Cam Bennett to rain down some punishment. Josh Elliott covering up Larry Downs Jr., letting him try to fight out of it. Not much fight in him, just covering up. Hammer fist there by Bennett. Dying seconds of the round. Can Josh Elliott survive? He does. Nice statement in the final seconds of round number 1 by Cam Smiley Bennett. Download the Ryoulive app now. Hang out with me and Dean Thomas for an exciting night of combat sports action, boxing, mixed martial arts, and don't forget the awesome grappling that awaits you. Anthony Showtime Pettis, Jorge Gamebred Masvidal, Chris Barnett, Yoel Romero. It is a night not to miss. Ryoulive. Download the app. Be entertained.
Yeah, this is an exciting night, man. I mean, I'm so blessed to be here to be able to call this with you, TJ. To see the grappling match between Masvidal and Pettis. I mean, both of those guys are studs. I've always been a fan of both of those guys.
Big takedown there by Bennett. We saw Elliott put down his arm. I get nervous when people get slammed like that. They put down their arm. That's how you break your arm. But
oh yeah, you can hyperextend your elbow like that. You catch it wrong, break your elbow. But I think going into this second round, I think Cam Bennett should know what he needs to do, and that's get this fight back on the ground as early as he can to give him more time to work.
You mentioned 3-minute rounds. It's still a bit of a marathon, but a much more fast marathon, almost a sprint in a lot of ways. So content to punch here is Bennett. He looks like he maybe got a finger to the eye, wincing a little bit. Elliott trying to pounce on it. Referee didn't intervene, so you might as well go to work. Now we see Bennett trying to get that takedown. I mentioned in the cage in mixed martial arts, another slam again. Elliott landed a little bit better this time around, but half guard situation here for Bennett.
Yeah, Elliott is just not prepared to defend takedowns. Like he's having a hard time finding his range because he is the shorter fighter, so he has to get closer. But as he gets closer, he gets grabbed, so he has to be able to do a better job of finding his range.
Full mount again here by Cam Bennett. We'll see if he can make it count. A lot of time to work, 2 minutes. Left and a right. Elliott covering up Larry Downs Jr. Close to maybe stopping this one.
Yeah, I don't think this one will make it out of another minute, probably.
It is amateur mixed martial arts. And really no defense here for Elliott. Shot after shot. The end of this fight may be coming up. Larry Downs really letting Elliott work, and I don't know if work is really what he's doing.
Cam Bennett at this point probably should just set up for a submission. I mean, I think he's got it right there. He just kind of wants to punish Josh Elliott, but I think he should just get this over with and set up for a submission.
I mean, this might be a 10-7 round if we make it all the way. I mean, Elliott is doing everything to have this fight stopped other than tapping or asking for it.
Yeah, but there's not much he can do from this position, and it's evident that he's probably not going to get out.
The onslaught of punches has slowed for Bennett. Now it's picking back up once again.
Yeah, and his corner's even telling him to take his back. And all right.
That's a wrap. Larry Downs Jr. has seen enough. Cam Smiley Bennett.
In combat sports, prize fighters battle for some of life's sweetest spoils. However, no athlete would get to this stage without first asking themselves what they're made of. Tonight, elite-level fighters take a step back from the bright lights and money fights to test their limits once again. In our main event, top-ranked MMA welterweight Jorge Gamebred Masvidal grapples former UFC and WEC lightweight champion Anthony Showtime Pettis. And in our co-main event, former UFC title challenger and Olympic silver medalist Yoel Romero tangles with Chris Beast Boy Barnett. Plus, we see the amateur boxing debut of the wildly popular Instagram star Supreme Patty, live and direct from Pensacola Bay Center in Pensacola, Florida. Dean Toole Promotions presents Masvidal versus Pettis.
We are live inside the Pensacola Bay Center tonight here for Dean Toole Promotions, Masvidal versus Pettis. Some unfinished business from our last fight. We handed off to Christopher James for our announcement.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Larry Downs Jr. calls a halt to this bout at 2:25 of round number 2. Declaring your winner by TKO, Cam Smiley Bennett.
Cam Smiley Bennett getting his hand raised tonight as he moves his amateur mixed martial arts record to a flawless 3-0. Really one-way traffic for that young man inside the ring tonight as he stops Josh Elliott. All right, action headed your way next as the heavyweights are ready to take the ring for some boxing action. This is Dean Toole Promotions, Masvidal versus Pettis.
3 rounds of boxing is on tap in the 155-pound division as Corey Stokes faces Will Bracell. Straight ahead, it's the silent assassin Corey Stokes versus Will Bracell. You're watching Dean Toole Promotions, Masvidal versus Pettis.
All right, boxing will kick off our night here on Ryoulive. TJ DeSantis, Dean Thomas, Pensacola Bay Center. An exciting night of combat sports action, and it's not very often I get to call a night of fights where it's multiple disciplines. Not only is it mixed martial arts, it is grappling, it is boxing, and it's great to see all of these young amateur fighters, get this platform.
You got to stay on your toes, too.
Right.
You got to be on your toes, to be able to call, just straight boxing.
Right.
And then an MMA fight. And
we got to remember you can't take him down in a boxing match, right?
And then not only that, but also too, we had some kids, some young men fight. So this is great. I mean, this is just, I'm just again, especially being from Florida, to watch the evolution and how it's come up, and to see all these different teams and all these young men come up. I feel like a grandfather here, but I'm just being honest. I'm getting kind of sentimental, but
you could be a grandfather.
I could be a grandfather.
Yeah,
I could be.
Yeah.
Oh, don't remind me, TJ.
Sorry. You talk about Florida. Obviously, the headline out of Florida for the longest time has been American Top Team. That's in South Florida. But there's a lot of teams up here in the Panhandle and the Southeast, and we've seen a lot of talent rise through the ranks and get to the Ultimate Fighting Championship and fight under the bright lights of the sport. But all of that talent, it starts here. You have to get that experience before you can, expect to mix it up with some of the sport's best. And Dean Toole Promotions is one of those platforms for these young fighters to get their feet wet.
Yeah, Island Fights has always done a great job of giving the opportunities to fighters on the come up. And again, now when we see not just MMA, but he's giving fighters opportunity to box.
Right.
And to grappling events. When we walked in tonight, the crowd was full of watching guys do jiu-jitsu matches.
Yeah, I was joking with you. I felt like we walked into a pancrase event in Japan.
Yeah. Everybody was quiet but watching and understanding what was going on.
Will Bracell getting into the ring for some boxing action. Main card here on Ryoulive. TJ DeSantis, Dean Thomas. 3 rounds of the sweet science headed your way as Will Bracell takes on Corey Stokes. Corey Stokes, the silent assassin, 28 years old. This his 6th amateur boxing match, 4-1. And he takes on Will Bracell, who is making the debut. We were talking a little bit earlier on the free portion about the experience. You said when a fighter has 2 fights compared to their opponent, you know, making their debut, it's not much of a difference. But what about when it's 6 fights or 5 fights here?
Yeah, I think this could be a difference because Corey Stokes knows what it's like to make this walk and knows what it's like to hear that sound of the bell, knows what it's like to be in that corner. Will Brazil doesn't.
Right.
And with 5 fights, you had a chance to settle into that and know what it feels like. I think he has a major experience advantage. Now, skill, we don't know yet.
Right.
We don't know what skill, but and what their training came down to. But in terms of experience, Corey Stokes has a significant advantage, I believe, here.
Corey Stokes also has the advantage of fighting in front of his hometown. He's training and fighting out of Pensacola. Assume he's got a fair amount of fans inside the stands here tonight. And again, amateur boxing, 3 2-minute rounds here tonight in the 155-pound division. Don't forget, more action headed your way, though, later tonight on Ryoulive. Some world-class athletes in our co-main event. Chris Barnett, formerly known as Huggy Bear, now known as Beast Boy. He takes on a beast of a man in Yoel Romero, former UFC title challenger. This is an exciting matchup for a variety of reasons, but Chris Barnett, an up-and-coming heavyweight in mixed martial arts. He gets to showcase his grappling skill against, again, a world-class grappler in the sense of Yoel Romero.
Yeah, I really do appreciate Chris Barnett. You know, I've been watching him since he was 350 pounds doing backflips. I talked to him yesterday. He told me he was about 280, and he's looking to try to get an invite from the UFC, and this is a way to make a statement. If he could beat Yoel Romero tonight, that'll open up a lot of people's eyes. And just competing against Yoel Romero will put him on the radar. So I think this is a great opportunity for him to showcase his skill, even though it's just a grappling match.
And Barnett tonight is over that 265-pound limit of mixed martial arts in the heavyweight class, but he's a guy that is truly a heavyweight. He cuts down to 265 to make that heavyweight limit, and to be able to do that just shows his dedication and determination to be a force in mixed martial arts. And while Yoel Romero is not in his weight class in MMA, it would definitely put him on the radar. I think Dana White would take notice if he were able to pull off a submission when he takes on Yoel Romero. All right, boxers ready to go here. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape for this 155-pound affair as Corey Stokes takes on Will Bracel. Stokes 4-1. Bracel making his debut. Stokes 6 years the elder. Both men stand 6 feet tall and have a 72-inch reach. 160 on weight for Bracel, 153.8 for Stokes. For our night to officially begin here in Pensacola, here's Christopher James.
Ladies and gentlemen, Pensacola, let me hear you make some noise. We are live on Ryoulive. You folks at home, thanks for tuning in. Let's get this party started tonight for Toole Promotions. Introducing first, boxing out of the blue corner, standing 6 feet and weighing in 160 pounds. Tonight, he's making his debut, representing Mako Academy and fighting out of Gulf Shores, Alabama. Please welcome Will Achilles Bracel. And his opponent, boxing out of the red corner, standing 6 feet, weighing in 153.8 pounds. Tonight, he comes to the ring with a record of 4 wins and 1 defeat. Representing Derek Smoke Gainer Fight Camp and fighting out of Pensacola, Florida, please welcome Corey, the Silent Assassin, Stokes.
Larry Downs Jr. getting this boxing assignment. It is Corey Stokes and Will Bracel.
Yeah, as Corey Stokes stepped into the ring, I watched the way his body language was when he was moving around, and he definitely has some skill and ability.
We are underway. Bracel coming out early, basically gets pushed off balance there. Larry Downs Jr. making sure he's good. We are.
Bracel having a good time, smiling, which he should do. He's smiling, having fun. He doesn't want to take too many of them, though.
Oh, he answers with the right hand, though. Now in the clinch. Two men will be separated. A lot of power on display by both men here early. Interesting stance there by Purcell, almost standing at a 90-degree angle.
Yeah, I don't think he has the boxing pedigree of Stokes, but he's throwing hard, and all it takes is one shot.
Purcell coming in over the top with that right hand, easily evaded there by Stokes.
Yeah, and that's something that obviously you can hear the corner of Stokes' hand. Watch that right hand. He's got to be careful because Purcell is throwing that right hand with some heat. And a few of those could hurt Stokes. Not even if you just one lands, that could change the game.
Past the halfway point of round number 1. See the mouthpiece there, Purcell. I don't know if he's getting winded. I mean, he's been throwing really heavy leather here early.
Well, he might be, and that's where I was saying that experience comes in. You know, if he's never been here before, he doesn't know his pace. He doesn't know how hard he can throw for 2 minutes.
Also,
3 times.
Fighting in front of this crowd, that does take a toll on you as well. The nerves, the adrenaline.
Yeah, your body locks up, it tightens up.
Speaking of a body lock now in the clinch, Larry Downs letting him fight out of it. Final 10 seconds of the round. Big right hand just misses by Stokes. Two minutes in the books between these boxers. Purcell throwing some heavy leather early. And, you know, we're not breaking news here. When you look at technique, we see Stokes have a much more traditional technique, but still has to respect that power of Purcell.
In a 2-minute round, when you get 3 of them, and you get a guy who's a great athlete like Stokes, who's throwing heat, it changes it. It changes the game. We're not talking about a 12-round. Look, we're not talking about a 12-round fight where they can set up. That's a great right hand by Stokes there. But Purcell, you know, doing his thing, he's strong, he's staying in there.
In the corner there of Purcell, what do you think his corner should be telling him here for round number 2?
He's got to try to catch him with one of them right hands because he hurt Stokes with a right hand earlier. He's got to try to catch him with a right hand.
Does he have to set it up a certain way?
Well, I don't know if he has the boxing ability to set that up, and that's the problem, is he may not have it. He's going to have to just try to sneak it in there some way. And he can do it, and he's doing a good enough job of roughing Stokes up, which is not traditional boxing, so that's also something he could do. Maybe catch him on a break, just rough him up, get close to him like that, and rough him up.
Stokes trying to bide his time, and we see Purcell kind of showing some gamesmanship there.
Yes, and there he goes. He's being unconventional, and that's how you find a conventional fighter in 2 minutes. Just be as unconventional as you possibly can be.
It's incredibly hard to prepare for an onslaught like this in the gym. I mean, what do you tell your training partner? Hey, just throw haymakers at me.
And they don't do that in a boxing
right
gym. So it's like, it's hard to prepare for these type of fights. 2 minutes, 3 times.
And I think you're right, too. Stokes, while his technique may play to his advantage over a much longer fight, he doesn't have that opportunity here. This is a short fight. Speaking of a short fight, already near the halfway point of this match. Nice right hand finds a home for Stokes.
But you see that right hand didn't have a major effect on Purcell. Like, if his punches was having a major effect on him, it'd be different, but it's not. So Purcell is staying in there. I think he's more getting tired than anything, but him getting hit is not affecting him.
You mentioned that gas tank of Purcell and his offensive output. I don't know if that was a knockdown or a slip.
That was a complete knockdown. Just like I said, he has to try to find a way to get one of them right hands in, and he did there. And that could be the deciding factor of this fight right there.
Yeah, Stokes is going to have to pull off something really big if he wants to try to steal this round. At this point, it's not possible.
Stokes is going to have to really turn up the heat now and really get that jab working and try to find a good shot, because he's trying to counter that left. He's trying to counter the right hand with a left hook, and that's not going to work anymore. He's got to get that jab going and really start putting combinations together.
Final 10 seconds here, round number 2. Unconventional but successful in that round is Will Purcell.
As you see, Stokes is trying to counter the right hand with a left hook, but it's not working. He's got to use the jab and put combinations together. If that's a 10-8 round, all he can hope for, maybe if he doesn't get a knockout, is to win the next round and get a draw out of this.
When we talk about the clock the action here by Brazil in that short round. If you're the one throwing offense and landing, it's very hard to steal that momentum for Stokes.
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at the way Brazil throws punches, like he's the guy you want in a street fight.
Right.
Like you take him over Stokes.
Right.
You know, he's just throwing heat, and he could keep that up for 6 minutes. You know, so Stokes has some catching up to do. He's got to try to figure out this puzzle. I think right now his back's against the wall right here.
I mean, it is the sweet science, but when you're on short time, sometimes insanity will overcome a more conservative approach. Final 2 minutes for these boxers to leave it out of the hands of the judges. And again, Brazil just coming out like a hurricane.
Again, he's trying to counter that, the right hand with the left hook. You see, again, he throws it again. But again, that's not the shot he wants because his punches haven't really done much or haven't had effect on Brazil. So he's got to try to catch him with combinations and wear him down.
For Brazil here, I don't think it's in his character to be conservative, but he may be up on the scorecards where he can just disengage and be defensive and maybe still walk away with the decision.
He might. I mean, it depends on how they scored that last round. I mean, obviously it's a 10-8, but how they scored the first round.
Right.
I mean, again, there's a good right hand, but you see Brazil's not fazed by his power.
And Brazil weighed in about 8 pounds heavier than Stokes. You think that's a factor here?
That's definitely a factor. I mean, you know, he's got his, and look, you know, Brazil's a strong kid. I mean, look at him. He's physically strong. He's got good legs on him. You know, he's going to be hard to put away. He's got, you know, Stokes would have benefited from more time and being able to invest in the body a little bit and try to wear Brazil down a little bit, but he can't.
Brazil in his amateur debut here tonight. This the 6th fight of Stokes' career. Nice left hand.
There's a good shot. There's a good shot. But again, look at Brazil. But Brazil still has legs under him. I mean, he got hit with 2 or 3 clean shots, but still has legs under him.
He's got 30 seconds left. I think the clock is definitely on the side here for Brazil, but Stokes maybe just 1 or 2 big punches away from stealing this.
He could. I think he's got to put it, but it's got to be in combinations. He's not going to do it with 1 shot. It's got to be a combination of 2 or 3.
Combination there by Brazil. Stokes forced to clinch. Larry Downs Jr. letting him work here inside the clinch. What a fight. Will Brazil, Corey Stokes. 6 minutes went by really quick.
Yeah, that went by quick because it was entertaining and it was so back and forth. I thought it was a draw. I thought Corey Stokes won the first and the third, and Brazil won the second with the knockdown.
Walk us through some of this action, Dean.
Well, you see that there's one of them left hooks, but this is the end of the fight. And there was that he hit him with a left hook and a right hand, but Brazil ate it good. He took it good. Clinched up and is still strong.
Judges going to tally their 10s and 9s, probably an 8 in there as well. Win, lose, or draw. I think we won.
Yeah,
honestly.
I think we won. I mean, whenever you have a fight like that and it goes by so fast, you know it was a good fight because it went by so fast.
And also, too, again, an amateur fight, not going to follow them to the pro ranks. I think this is a good experience for both of these gentlemen. It allowed Will Brazil to go out there and stand in front of a very refined boxer and prove that his power can kind of overcome maybe some of the shortcomings he has from a technique standpoint against someone like Corey Stokes.
Yeah, I think Brazil is probably an MMA guy or a guy who's been in a few street fights in his day. I mean, just the way, like, he came in with, as a debut, no experience.
A lot of heart.
Yeah, no heart. Didn't show no fear. He ate them shots well. So you know he's been hit before, but he's never boxed before. So, I mean, I think that, you know, whatever road he takes, as long as he has a good team behind him and he can stay disciplined, I think he's got a future ahead of him.
I've said in combat sports there's 3 types of personalities. There's athletes, there's martial artists, and there's fighters. And Will Brazil, I think, is a fighter.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think he's a fighter and an athlete. I mean, you can see him. He's very physically.
But that mentality, like,
he's got a fighter's mentality.
Fight down on the mouthpiece and win.
He's got a fighter's mentality for sure.
Judges still tallying their 10s and 9s. We'll see who will walk away from this one. Definitely entertaining match between these 2 boxers. Don't forget, later tonight, some amazing athletes. Main event, Jorge Gamebred Masvidal takes on the former UFC champion, Anthony Showtime Pettis. Grappling match headed your way. World's decision will be headed your way here in a moment, we hope. And generally, Dean, you mentioned that this might be a draw. When the judges take this long, that's generally what it is. Sometimes, it's not a traditional scorecard that's being turned in.
Right. It's not I mean, it's not very easy to score. So, there's probably scores across the board. They got the calculator out, the Texas Instrument, trying to tally this up.
It's funny how, 10s and 9s and 8s, it's difficult, especially when you're dealing with 3 people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
And, the way I saw it, I have it as a draw, but somebody else might have saw it differently.
Right. All right, we've sorted it out for our decision. Here's Christopher James.
Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, let's get a big round of applause for these young men inside the ring. Great fight, gentlemen. After 3 rounds, we go to the judges for a decision. Judge number 1 scores about 30-27, Stokes. Judge number 2 scores about 30-27, Bracel. And judge number 3 scores about 29-28 for your winner by split decision, Will Achilles Bracel.
All right. Admittedly, I'm an MMA guy, okay?
Right.
But I believe in boxing, when you get dropped,
it's an automatic 10-8.
There was no 10-8 turned in by any of the judges. 30-27 and 29-28.
Yeah, I don't know how they scored that. I mean, they would have to justify that to the athlete, but I'm not sure how they scored that. For me, I thought it was a clear draw, 10-8, and then I thought Corey Stokes won the first and the third. So
we'll let him have a mulligan here. It's an amateur fight. Okay?
Yeah, it's an amateur fight.
And like I said, we won.
Yeah,
we were entertained,
I
right?
thought it was a great fight. I thought it was a great fight between the 2 athletes.
And for Will Bracel, big win for him tonight, and it was really built off the back of this offense. Walk us through some of this action here, Dean. Really solid stuff.
They're tied up here. That was that right hand that he snuck in. I mean, he turned his body and just snuck that in. Now getting a little bit more action, guys just throwing heavy leather, and then Stokes catching him with them 2 left hooks there. But Will Bracel stands strong with his legs, able to pull it off.
Will Bracel getting it done tonight in Pensacola. More action headed your way. You're watching Dean Toole Promotions.
Bantamweights will meet in the ring for a mixed martial arts bout as Michaela Rosati faces Ursi Wallace. Live from Pensacola, it's Dean Toole Promotions. Masvidal versus Pettis.
All right, some clarification here ringside. Christopher James was kind enough to come over and tell us no 10-8 round in amateur boxing when it's 3 2-minute rounds. So I can understand that. It's really hard to come back from a 10-8 round when you don't have a lot of time. So there you go. I understand that.
So there's no 10-8s in that? Okay.
No 10-8s. We're learning. The amateurs are learning. We're learning.
So then if there's no 10-8s, then I felt Corey Stokes won the fight.
Corey Stokes won the fight? Or Will Bracel won the fight? Will Bracel knocked down Corey Stokes.
Yeah, but there's no 10-8, still a 10-9, right?
Correct. So I see you say he got 1 round.
Yeah, he's got 1 round.
Got it.
Yeah. Because unless we judge it like Pride rules, if you judge it like Pride
over
rules
the course of the fight,
then you have to say that knockdown weighed more than anything that Corey Stokes may have done.
Here's a problem with Pride rules. There really is no criteria other than just your opinion.
Right,
you know what I mean? There's no math to be done. Who won? This guy. Why? Because.
Yeah. But I don't know. I still thought Corey Stokes is the better boxer of the 2.
Right.
But Will Bracel was the better fighter.
All right. I'm a little more comfortable in mixed martial arts, and we have some more MMA action here headed your way as Ursi Wallace making the walk to the ring, 27 years old. Ready to put on a show as she takes on Michaela Rosati. Ursi Wallace ready to do work here in Pensacola. Michaela Rosati, 20 years old. This her mixed martial arts debut. Trains with Core MMA. Bantamweights. 135 pounds. And we talk about the evolution of combat sports, mixed martial arts. We want to talk about the evolution of women's mixed martial arts. That has come a long way over the last, heck, even just 5 or 6 years, let alone, 10, 15.
Oh, yeah. You have to credit Ronda Rousey for that, really, because I think prior to that, any girl that was good did it indirectly, just being in the gym, being around guys. And then after Ronda came on the scene and people said, wait a minute, we can make money off girls?
Right.
Coaches started paying attention, and they started giving them more attention. And then the skill level of the female athlete just got better overnight.
And for a very long time, I mean, there was women's mixed martial arts long before Ronda Rousey, but it was always like a spectacle. It was like a special showcase to a fight card.
And like I said, they got better indirectly because nobody really paid much attention to them in the gym in terms of like coaching. And they were just in the gym with everybody else. But when Ronda started doing it, they said, you know what? We have something here. Then they got all the attention.
Bantamweight's inside the ring. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape for this mixed martial arts affair. Ursi Wallace, 27 years old, 7 years the elder of Michaela Rosati. Rosati stands 4 inches taller. Wallace has a 3-inch reach advantage. 135.4 on the scale for Rosati, 138.4 for Ursi Wallace. For our official introductions of this contest, here's Christopher James.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we go with our next bout of the evening. And I'd like to once again thank everybody for tuning in on Are You Live? We're happy to be in your home tonight. We're going to get this rolling on right now. Our next bout, 3 2-minute rounds in the Dean Toole Promotion Women's Bantamweight MMA division. When the action starts inside the ring, our referee, Mr. Larry Downs Jr. And now, let's meet our fighters. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner. Standing 5 feet 3 inches tall and weighing in at 138.4 pounds. Tonight, she is making her debut. Representing Team Smack and fighting out of Waycross, Georgia. Please welcome Ursi Sledge Wallace. And her opponent, fighting out of the red corner. Standing 5 feet 7, weighing in at 135.4 pounds. Tonight, she is making her debut. Representing Core MMA and fighting out of Gulf Breeze, Florida. Please welcome the Federale, Michaela Rosati.
Bantamweight's inside the ring. Michaela Rosati, Ursi Wallace. Larry Downs Jr. getting this assignment. TJ DeSantis, Dean Thomas, Pensacola Base Center tonight for Dean Toole Promotions. Masvidal versus Pettis. All amateur bouts tonight sanctioned by the American Amateur Mixed Martial Arts Organization. We're learning a little bit about their judging.
Yeah. I didn't know that myself. There was no...
And if Dean Thomas didn't know, how am I supposed to know? Rosati throwing some punishment the way of Walls, but Walls coming back with some hands over the top of the right.
They're starting out pretty fast there. I mean, that's one thing that you kind of expect from women's mixed martial arts. Is they start off fast.
They do.
They start off very aggressively. It's almost like every fight.
He's kicked the lead leg there. Now going to the body is Rosati. Join in on the conversation tonight at TJ DeSantis, at Dean Thomas, hashtag Dean Toole Promotions. Appreciate you joining us tonight on Are You Live? Nice counter shots there by Wallace. His right hand.
Yeah, Wallace starting to turn it up with those right hands.
Rosati trying to answer. Rosati definitely employing a lot of kicks in her attack, where Wallace is landing some hands.
Wallace is hitting her target. That was a mistake. Well, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't a mistake.
Goodness. Now in full mount, Ursi Wallace trying to pound out a finish here. Michaela Rosati in trouble. A lot of time here. Ursi Wallace has 30 seconds left to really make a statement. Now isolating that arm gift wrap situation here. For Wallace now.
For the armbar, she might be able to get this.
Armbar upcoming. Rosati trying to battle her way through it. She's trying to almost kick her in the face. That's not legal.
But she doesn't have the arm turned right. She's got 10 seconds. This could be either really good or really bad with 10 seconds left. But her thumb, I think, is in the wrong direction.
That's a statement, though. Finishing the round in a submission, Ursi Wallace.
The problem was she didn't have her thumb pointed in the right direction,
Right.
so there was a lot of give and a lot of bend. So sometimes it looks a lot worse than it really is. There was still some pressure on it, but her thumb wasn't actually turned in the right direction, so she wasn't able to because like with the angle that she had on it, that could have been devastating.
Let's talk about how Ursi Wallace got into that position. Hopefully we'll see it on the replay here. Some hands early, but
yeah,
it was a failed takedown attempt to a beautiful sweep.
Yeah, I thought it was a mistake to go for her. Like, she kind of pulled her on top of her, but kind of just swept. Like, that was some good jiu-jitsu, actually.
Absolutely.
But she's raining down punches from the mount here, and just went for the armbar for now. I thought it was a good idea to go for the armbar, especially with the amount of time left.
Solid bit of work there in the latter part of the round for Ursi Wallace. Got to believe that momentum is on her side as we head into round number 2.
You know, so Wallace, as I was saying in the last round, she's getting the touches that she wants with the right hand. She's just not turning it over with her body. If she turns it over with her body, she's going to get a lot more impact out of that right hand. You see how she's kind of pushing it?
Countering those kicks with some hands is Wallace. Rosati really married to that leg attack. It's something that she's employed from the get-go. Now throwing it to the body.
And that's not a bad thing to do, especially for the fact that she's getting hit with right hands. If she uses her left leg to maintain distance, just keep going to the body with that left leg. Yeah, and again, and take away that front leg, she could do a lot of damage and slow Ursi Wallace down.
Nice right hand finds a home for Rosati. Touch over a minute remaining here in our second round, now clinched up. Wallace able to get her to the floor. A lot of time left again to work here, just under a minute. Half guard here for Rosati.
Yeah, Wallace has a significant advantage on the ground, and I think it would do her some justice to get here as early as she can in each round.
Takedowns go a long way in these short fights as well. You get a takedown in the first, you know.
Oh yeah, you get a takedown. Like, it's hard to get back up. You
right.
get a takedown, and plus it weighs a lot in the judge's mind.
Right hand there by Wallace now, trying to posture up and rain down some shots. Rosati covering up. Final 10 seconds here in round number 2.
10 seconds.
2 rounds in the books between these bantamweights. Michaela Rosati, Ursi Wallace. We saw Rosati in that round land some kicks. She had maybe a bit more strikes here early, but we saw Wallace get that takedown. Dean, walk us through some of this action.
So she kind of an unconventional takedown there. She just kind of threw her down from like seemed like almost like a front headlock type position, just threw her down and secured half guard. But she wasn't able to create the space that she needed in order to deliver some damaging blows from there. And that's a science in itself, one that's very underdeveloped in MMA. And sometimes you almost can't expect it to be learned and taught for these amateurs here, because I still work with pros that were trying to develop this.
Right.
So it's understandable that she wasn't able to do a lot of damage, especially with that amount of time there.
Gotta wonder what the corner of Michaela Rosati is thinking. You know, she finished the first round, locked in an armbar. Second round, she had some success, but was ultimately taken down. Her back may be against the wall, and she has 2 minutes to do something about it here in round number 3.
Yeah, I think she needs to get her left leg going and start going to the body with that left leg to keep the right hand from Ursi Wallace from making a connection. Again, there goes that right hand from Ursi Wallace. And it's all because Michaela is not doing anything to stop that from her from coming in. She's got to keep her from stepping to her.
Rosati trying to go back to that kick. To the mouth open of Wallace, taking a deep breath. A lot of offensive output here throughout this fight. Half-hearted kick there, but answered by some punches from Rosati. Wallace kind of shaking her head. I don't know if it was out of frustration or trying to tell Rosati that, no, you're not hurting me.
It looked a little bit more out of frustration, like she didn't get what she wanted, like she was trying to reach for it and didn't get what she wanted. But I'd love to see Rosati throw a liver kick right now. You know, I mean, it's right open for her.
Rosati's head snapped back there by a right hand from Ursi Wallace. Less than a minute remains here in the fight. Another right hand, loading up on the right hands. Rosati in some trouble, now up against the ropes.
Yeah, if Ursi Wallace would just turn one of them right hands over with, this fight would be over because she's making a connection almost every time she throws it.
A little over 30 seconds remain here in round number 3. See if Rosati has something up her sleeve to get back in this fight. Wallace looks to be on cruise control here.
Yeah, she's in cruise control. I don't know if she's tired. Like her facial expressions doesn't show that she's tired, but her body language is, the way she's walking backwards shows that she's tired. And this is something that they're going to have to learn how to read. You know, if you see your opponent, that body language, you got to read that and jump on her. And Rosati has not done that.
Solid performance here by Ursi Wallace. Michaela Rosati, very game. She wanted to do her best to take home this fight, but at least you and I, ringside, might be siding towards Ursi Wallace a little bit, but again, I can't stress this enough, a learning lesson for both of these women.
Yeah, it will be, you know, and the good thing is that they can go back and watch the video.
Right.
When they go back to watch the video, when they'll get with their coaches and they'll say, this is what you should have done here, this is what you could have done better here. You know, don't worry about the win or the loss. Learn from your mistakes throughout the fight. And that's one thing that I find that winners do wrong, is they don't learn from their mistakes. You know, they get their hand raised and go, well, I won, so I must have done something right. But I think in this fight, both of them, they have a lot that they can learn from, you know, when they go back and watch this footage.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about a learning experience. It happens for both fighters, the winner and the loser. There's always something to take back and you know, bring it back to the drawing board and improve upon it.
Yeah, it's a big lie when they say you either win or you learn, because you should be learning whether you win or lose. So it's a lie to tell people you either win or you learn.
Michaela Rosati, Ursi Wallace awaiting the judge's decision here in Pensacola. Don't forget, a lot more action headed your way tonight. Star power, to say the least, on this Dean Toole Promotions card. Mike Biggie Rhodes, he's on the card, UFC veteran. He takes on the Fresh Prince, Philip Rowe. It is all headed your way later on tonight. But right now, let's crown our winner for our official decision. Here's Christopher James.
After 3 rounds of action, we go to the judges for a decision. All 3 judges scored the same for your winner by unanimous decision. From the blue corner, Ursi Sledge Wallace.
Ursi Wallace getting it done now 1-0 as an amateur in her mixed martial arts career. Solid bit of work for her. Almost got an armbar submission in that matchup, but definitely able to throw some hands and also make it count on the floor.
Oh yeah, I mean, she went out and she fought with her heart. This was like that takedown there, like that sweep. That was a beautiful thing to watch. Like, I thought it was a mistake at first, but it was obviously something that she probably practices and maybe does in training. But you know, she came out and executed some of the offenses she wanted to, and it made Rosati pay for it.
Her ability to read the weight was very impressive. Ursi Wallace victorious tonight in her mixed martial arts debut. More action headed your way. You're watching Dean Toole Promotions, Masvidal versus Pettis.
Featherweights will fight in Pensacola as mixed martial artists Juan Alvarez and Michael Peltier both hope to pick up the 3rd win of their young amateur careers. Straight ahead, it's Juan Wild Child Alvarez versus Michael Peltier.
More mixed martial arts action headed your way. Featherweights ready to take the ring. Michael Peltier, 28 years old, fighting out of Pensacola, Florida, representing Bad Company MMA, 2-1 on his run. Lost his last fight. It's interesting to see a fighter come back after tasting defeat for the first time. Sometimes you see fighters a little bit hesitant. He was stopped with strikes. We'll see how he wants to respond or can respond from that, because sometimes fighters get in their head a little bit after they've been stopped by strikes. We'll see how Peltier answers.
Yeah, and that happens. So fighters can become extremely gun shy. after that, depending on, but like you said earlier, when you break down, are they a fighter? If they're a fighter, they're going to come back. If they were more of an athlete and he got stopped, he's going to be very hesitant. So we're going to know right away what his body tells us once he steps inside that ring.
Michael Peltier making 144.2 on the scales yesterday at weigh-ins. It should be noted that this is his first fight at featherweight, so moving down for the first time. All of his previous fights were at lightweight, and obviously on point, but sometimes fighters feel completely different after they move a weight class. Sometimes they feel stronger, sometimes they feel like they are a lot bigger than their opponent. You've fought over a variety of weight classes.
Oh yeah, I mean, they're just different, and they're not, and I found that it's not that one is better than the other. And we've seen, you know, recently in times, you know, with Henry Cejudo winning a belt at 2 weights. We saw Kyoji Horiguchi last night win it bantamweight, and he's a flyweight. It's not normal. It's just a matter of where you're most comfortable more than anything else, and how you deal with the bigger weight or the smaller weight. Because the smaller weights are faster, the bigger weights are a little bit more mass. You have to have the style to deal with it, and that's really what's important.
Strength and size will follow you a little bit and change you as a fighter throughout divisions, but technique, that's a constant.
Yeah, it's a constant. So what's more important is technique and speed, more so than size. Like, now, when you're on the ground and somebody's on top of you, you can feel that size. But with technique and speed, that's way more important than size, and that's something that fighters do have to understand. But, you know, but visually, we see the size and we go, oh, he's so big. But that really doesn't have that much of an impact unless you allow it.
The 20-year-old wild child, Juan Alvarez, making the walk tonight. Training and fighting right here in Pensacola. Represents Deepwater MMA and 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. 2-3. He's been on a bit of a slide, dropping his last 3 contests. Again, it's amateur mixed martial arts. The record doesn't mean all that much at the end of the day. You're just trying to get the experience and figure out when the right time is to go pro, but you know he wants to break that skid that he's on.
Yeah, not only that, but, you know, he's still learning about himself, and that's the most important thing. You know, as these guys accept these fights and they take them, they're just learning about themselves. They're learning what they're good at. They're learning what they're not good at. They're learning, again, what weight class they need to fight in. They're learning all these different things about themselves. It's unfortunate that, you know, that the whole world has to see it, has to see you go through this process, but it's necessary, because when you get to the big show, you're used to having eyeballs on you, and that's another thing that these guys need to get used to, is just having eyeballs on you and being able to perform.
Alvarez has a submission victory by heel hook. That is, you know, the leg game used to be really, really advanced. I'm not saying that it's not an advanced skill, but you used to see fighters really not pull it off until they're really well experienced in MMA, because it's a different game doing it in jiu-jitsu compared to doing it in MMA. But already a heel hook victory for this young man in mixed martial arts. That says something about his leg attacks.
Well, that says something about his willingness to do it as well, that he's not afraid to do it. A lot of guys are afraid to go for it. Obviously, if he trains with 10th Planet, you know, they're a leg locking gym. So, you know, and his willingness to go for it says a lot about his risk taking, and that's important as a fighter. You have to have the ability to take risk, and if he's doing that, my hat's already off to him.
Think about Taquinho Palhares, a guy that, you know, ripped a lot of knees up in his time, and you think about the leg attack, it's something that is countered by just blunt force trauma to the face, but when your leg game is that good, you don't need a lot of time to get it in.
Well, you don't, and the thing is, you know, a lot of MMA guys have shied away from it for a while because it's dangerous to get punched in the face, but it's still something that they have to worry about. You always, if you have a good leg attack, your opponent always has to worry about it, and that's what you want. You want your opponent to be worried about different things that you can do.
Featherweights inside the ring. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape for this mixed martial arts contest. Michael Peltier, 2-1, 28 years old, 8 years the elder of the 2-3 Juan Alvarez. Peltier stands 1 inch taller and will have a 2-inch reach advantage. For our official introductions of this featherweight fight, here's Christopher James.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we go with our next bout of the evening. This bout is being brought to you by our friends at And Still Nutrition. Set for 3 3-minute rounds in the Dean Toole Promotions featherweight division. When the action starts inside the ring, our referee, Larry Downs Jr. And now, let's meet our fighters. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner, standing 5'11", and weighing in at 144.2 pounds. Tonight, he comes to the ring with a record of 2 wins and 1 defeat. Representing Bad Company MMA, fighting out of Pensacola, Florida, please welcome Michael Pelletier. His opponent, fighting out of the red corner, standing 5'10" and weighing in 146 pounds. Tonight, he comes to the ring with a record of 2 wins and 3 defeats. Representing Deepwater MMA and 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu, fighting out of Pensacola, Florida, please welcome Juan Wild Child Alvarez.
Featherweights inside the ring, amateur mixed martial arts rules, 3 3-minute rounds. Larry Downs Jr. giving our fighters the final instructions. Pelletier in the Brazilian colored shorts. Alvarez in the white. Alvarez crawling out like he's John Jones.
I was thinking the same thing. I think Eve Edwards might have been the one who really started that squat.
Yeah, the catcher's position.
Yeah.
Nice Superman punch there.
Punch, yeah, caught him off guard.
They call him Wild Child. Throwing some unorthodox strikes here early, but very technical. These rounds go by so quick. 30 seconds already down.
Yeah, for a guy who lost his last 3 fights, he looks to be in pretty good spirits. Like he's come to win tonight.
Nice kick to the body there by Alvarez again.
That's
now
a great
follows it up
body kick to the liver.
Right hand now in the clinch.
That's the kind of shot to the liver that changes the game.
Confidence, a big thing in this sport. And I mentioned this, the skid that Alvarez has been on, not affecting his confidence or willingness to step in there. Throw. You mentioned Pelletier coming off the first loss of his career via strikes.
Well, I tell you what, with Pelletier, you know, he's coming forward. Now, I think that body shot hurt him, but he's coming forward a little faster now, but I think that body shot, that kick to the body did hurt him.
You talk about the shin guards. I mean, does that even have any effect on a good body kick? Does it lessen the blow at all?
Not really. Not really. A body kick will get in, and that hurts regardless. Because and these shin guards aren't soft.
Right.
They're not soft. So
they're really to protect your shin bone more than anything. Alvarez had Pelletier on the floor, but now back on the feet. Pelletier controlling the clinch. Nice little knee on the inside. Touch over a minute remains here in round number 1.
Yeah, what I don't like about Pelletier is how easily he got thrown down. That's not really a good sign if you get thrown down that easily.
Big punches here by Alvarez. Nice uppercut. Finds a home. Now back in the clinch. Pelletier able to slow the onslaught. Needed the body by Pelletier.
Yeah, and he's delivered a couple knees of his own that seemed to get the attention of Alvarez.
Alvarez able to weather those shots, get back to space. 30 seconds left in the round. Hard right kick to the lead leg of Pelletier. Stiff jab. Alvarez finds a right hand. Coming forward is Alvarez.
You know, Alvarez is very accurate with those shots, and Pelletier's got to find a way to stay away from that. Especially considering he got stopped his last fight. He doesn't want to take too many of those.
Needed the body of Alvarez to end the round by Pelletier.
Yeah, Pelletier looks a little disorganized in his game plan. You know, I would think that he might want to get this on the ground after taking so many shots, but he's just kind of standing in the way and taking too many shots.
We talked about the action here. Walk us through some of it.
Yeah, like he starts from in the clinch there. He's throwing body shots from in the clinch there. Pelletier just doing a good job of holding on to him, so he didn't take much more, but he took a couple of big shots there that really, I think, not only just got his attention, but stunned him.
I think the biggest thing for a fighter to develop and hone their skills this early in the career is something that is very important to secure victories at the highest level, and that is the ability to make adjustments over the course of a fight.
Yeah, and not only that, but in order to make an adjustment, you got to have a plan to start with.
Right.
Because you have to know what you're adjusting from. So if you don't have a plan to start with, then what are you adjusting from? So, and it doesn't look like Peltier had a plan to start with, but he's got to do something now.
Round 2 underway. Michael Peltier, Juan Alvarez. Alvarez in the white.
See, again, like his balance is just falling down this way. It's not a good sign.
Alvarez now in the guard of Peltier. Trying to pass. Put a butterfly hook in. Now back to close guard. A high guard here from Peltier.
A high guard.
But it was open.
Again, a high open guard, it's not a good idea because you just allow the guy to get out. Like, if you're going to have a high guard, you need to close it.
Peltier in trouble, turtling up now. Alvarez with the right hook in. Can't see from here if he has a left. Looks like he does. Yeah, both hooks in.
He's got both hooks in. But again, I think at this point, you know, from here, he needs he doesn't want to get rolled over here. Because it kind of, well, he might be able to get the choking from here. I can't see. But again, like if you're on top of somebody's back, you want to maintain that so that you have options to punch.
Now he's wrapping up that rear naked choke. Peltier may be in some trouble.
It looks like he's got him in trouble here.
Juan Alvarez close to finishing this. Peltier trying to peel the hand.
He's got to. The hand is right there for him to peel. He can peel that hand. He's got to find it.
It looks like it's off.
There he goes.
A little bit.
Yeah, there he goes. He had the hand in the wrong place. I mean, the hand was there for him to peel, but he had it off in the wrong place.
Finds himself in the wrong place again now, fully mounted. Minute 15 remains in the second round. Able to get back to a half guard.
So here he goes. As you saw, Alvarez looking to go for that heel hook there.
Peltier able to survive that precarious situation. Now he's trying to isolate that arm, maybe omoplata here. Alvarez able to spin through. Trying to sprawl out of this takedown is Peltier.
And I think he would do better by, sprawling and trying to get the back here.
He's got the right hook in, now trying to get the left in. Does secure it. 30 seconds left in the round. We'll see if Peltier can do one better than Alvarez with his rear naked choke position.
See now from here, you'd be better off just straight up punching from here, maintaining position and punching as opposed to going back and putting the guy on top of you.
Short on time here as well for Peltier. Now maybe trying to peel off that arm.
And this isn't a bad idea neither, going for the arm bar with 10 seconds left if he can secure the arm. He might be able to get it.
It's extended.
A second.
Oh, saved by the bell is Juan Alvarez. Alvarez was in control in that round, but Peltier rallied late, nearly locked up that arm.
Yeah, Peltier, again, like I said, I think he's a little disorganized in what he wants. Again, he fell to his back there trying to throw a kick. Just taking a lot of punishment. I think that's the problem, is because he doesn't know exactly what he wants, so he's trying to look for opportunities, and in that process, he's taking a lot of punishment. He gives up his back here, almost gets finished. If he didn't find that hand right there, he would have been finished here. It was a mistake to give up his back, but he was lucky enough to get out of that.
When we talk about the adjustments, I want to talk a little bit about the composure that is necessary from a fighter. You look at Peltier, was in big trouble in that round fighting off that rear naked, but once he got free, he got his own game going and finished around.
He's got to be proud of himself, and that could give him some confidence going into the rest of this fight, knowing that he weathered that, because it doesn't get any worse than that, really. I mean, he took some big shots. He almost got choked out. And now his opponent is pretty tired. I think that if Peltier were to put some pressure on, figure out what he wants to do. Again, when you start taking bad shots like that, you're desperate. Peltier should take advantage of this right now.
Trying to frame up a choke here on Alvarez. See if he bails on it. Doesn't have it now, might be trying to take the back. Now he's on a guillotine.
He doesn't have the right angle, really. The head's going to slip out because he didn't have the angle on it.
Interesting that he went for that guillotine because he gave up position. If he had gone for the anaconda that he had earlier, he wouldn't be on bottom right now.
Right. Again, it's a disorganization in your skill set, and you're just looking for things that aren't really there for you. He's got a triangle here. And what he's doing with this triangle here, because the arm is on the opposite side, he's got his legs locked on the opposite side. It's a reverse triangle, very hard to finish though. It works better in the pros because you can elbow from here, but in the amateurs, it almost makes sense to not go for it and just try to secure a triangle in a traditional way. Again, now he needs to switch his legs and move his hips to his right immediately.
If it were a pro fight, he could land elbows all day here,
Yeah.
but amateur fight, he's still trying to make some strikes count.
No, he needs to switch his feet and move his hips to his right. He could finish his right away. But again, he's trying to readjust the lock on the wrong side, which
Right.
is a mistake.
Maybe he could switch over for an omoplata and get a sweep out of it.
Well, with Alvarez's arm, the direction of his arm, it's not worth doing that. He's got he could finish a triangle from here. Well, he could have, not anymore. But now, yeah, that was a pretty bad mistake from.
Maybe a mistake, but now in top position, trying to step over to full mount, posturing up his Peltier, some right hands, minute left to work here. Alvarez not doing much in the way of defending other than just reaching towards Peltier. Very heavy with his hips here and maintaining this position as Peltier.
He's maintaining his position, but you see how his hips aren't activated as he's throwing these arm punches?
Right.
That's why he's not getting a lot of damage done. He really needs to posture his body up and throw all of his weight into those punches as opposed to those arm punches. He could finish his fight right now just doing that.
Alvarez sort of disengaging, going belly down, covering up. Larry Downs giving it a good look. He's seen enough. It is done. Michael Peltier stops Juan Alvarez via strikes in the third round.
I think he did a good job of maintaining his composure and just outwilling his opponent.
He had to weather some adversity in that fight, and he finally gets the last laugh, showing some sportsmanship to the opponent there and Juan Alvarez. But Michael Peltier got to be proud of this performance.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it was a bit muddled. However, his heart and his will to win, his desire to keep going, he found a way to win.
And when he did make some mistakes, he was able to capitalize off of the scrambles, got in top position, and when he got there in the third round, he made it count.
For sure, he took a lot of punishment in order to do it, but he made it happen, and he's got to be proud of himself.
Michael Peltier moves his record to 3-1 on his amateur campaign. Stops Juan Alvarez via strikes in the third round. And again, I sound like a broken record, but the learning experience, it's not often in mixed martial arts you see third round stoppages. Usually when you get to the latter part of a fight, the fight has settled into a pattern. It's rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
And
especially at this weight, too.
Exactly.
With smaller guys. Especially as an amateur. Smaller guys as an amateur, it's not likely that you're going to get a third round finish.
Alvarez to his stool now. A little beaten up, I think, not only physically but mentally. Not a fight that he wanted to drop like that at all. But he had moments in this fight as well.
Yeah,
He's got
to go back to the drawing board and figure out what's going on. I think a lot of his issues may be psychological because he doesn't look like a bad fighter physically. He came out strong. I thought he threw hard punches. He looked good technically. But I think there's a mental block that's keeping him from being able to execute the way he would like to. And I think that's what Michael Peltier possesses. I don't think that he was as physically talented, but I think mentally he was extremely strong and durable.
A lot of action still headed your way. Later tonight, we see the boxing debut of the social network sensation in Supreme Patty. Millions of followers on Instagram tonight. He puts all that aside, puts on the gloves, and tests himself in the boxing realm.
He's confident, too. He's confident.
Doing it right as well. Training with Roy Jones Jr. for this fight. He will compete tonight for the first time here in Pensacola. All right, for the official time of the stoppage, here's Christopher James.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Larry Downs Jr. calls a halt to this bout at 2 39 of round number 3. Declaring your winner by referee stoppage due to strikes, Michael Peltier.
Peltier getting it done. 3-1 on his amateur run. No victory probably sweeter than that on this stage. Michael Peltier getting it done in Pensacola. More action is headed your way here on Ryoulive. It's Dean Toole Promotions, Masvidal versus Pettis.
And we look at the, he takes Peltier's back, but he weathers the storm. I mean, this is about as close to a choke that you can get, but somehow he found that hand, was able to reverse the position, and find himself on top and get the stoppage.
Michael Peltier getting it done here in Pensacola. Victorious for the 3rd time in his MMA career. Dean Toole Promotion presents Masvidal versus Pettis.
Clark and Jamarius McIntyre hope to put on a show as they're scheduled for 3 rounds of boxing. Straight ahead, it's the Martian Miles Clark versus Jamarius McIntyre.
Pair of 23-year-olds making the walk tonight. Some boxing at 185 pounds. Jamarius McIntyre fighting out of Burnsbridge, Alabama, 1-1 on his campaign.
Yeah, I don't know too much about these young men, but this is the perfect opportunity for them to show me.
All right. That last fight is scratched, so
Really?
now we're moving to jiu-jitsu as Philip Rowe takes on Mike Biggie Rhodes. You're watching Masvidal versus Pettis.
Nice.
Artists will look to test their submission skills as Philip Rowe takes on UFC veteran Mike Biggie Rhodes. Straight ahead, it's Philip the Fresh Prince Rowe versus Mike Biggie Rhodes.
Talk about adjustments. Got to roll with the adjustments, roll with the punches, and that's what we're doing here in Pensacola. Mike Biggie Rhodes on his way to the ring. Got to wonder what the preparation time and the heads-up notice was for these athletes as they, you know, were under the assumption that there was one fight ahead of them. Did it just get scratched? Were they already warming up? We don't know.
Well, you know, I don't think it's going to really have an effect on them in a 10-minute jiu-jitsu match.
Right.
You know, it's different when you're dealing with rounds, but in
Sure.
a 10-minute jiu-jitsu match, there's going to be a feeling out process, you know, where they're just kind of feeling it. So, yeah, they're not really all that amped up anyway.
One of my favorite things, we were talking about pride earlier, is that endurance round. You don't get that in mixed martial arts, really.
Yeah, you don't get that.
No.
So, but I think this is good for them, you know, and I know both of these gentlemen, especially Mike Rhodes. I've spent a lot of time in camp with him. He's super well-rounded, very good on the ground. He's, you know, and his MMA, he's very good in MMA.
Talk about that for a brief moment. You've spent a lot of time at Rufus Sport in Milwaukee. That gym ran by Duke Rufus. People automatically sort of default to, oh, it's a gym full of strikers. They got some submission skills as well.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, if you even talk to Duke Rufus prefers guys to go to the ground,
right,
because of how much damage you can do, and it's easier to finish fights there in a safer way.
Right.
It's safer to finish fights on the ground. So they spend a lot of time, and all of them, they train in the gi. They all train in the gi under Daniel Wanderlei. They have great ground games. So, you know, Mike Biggie Rhodes and all the Rufus Sport guys have underrated ground games.
Biggie Rhodes, 12-6 in mixed martial arts, and looking at his victories, he has 8 stoppages, and they're split down the middle. 4 knockouts, 4 submissions. So it's not really whether or not he's fighting a certain style. He's the type of guy that will just take what is ever given to him.
He's super adaptable. He's very flexible in terms of that. He's super skilled. One of the most coordinated guys I've ever had the privilege of working with. And he always mimics opponents for fighters. Like one day he'll be Wonder Boy. You know, he was Kamaru Usman. So he can mimic anybody. So he's super coordinated and skilled with his body.
That's a big skill to have when you think about. It's one thing to serve as a training partner for someone and mimicking an opponent, but to actually be able to replicate that type of skill and serve as a proxy for someone that they're getting ready for. That really is a talent.
Yeah, it's a talent. I mean, it's one that, you know, if he were to decide to retire from his own competition, he could travel the country as a sparring partner and be fine, because he could go as many rounds as he needs to and not get hurt. He's that skilled.
Mike Biggie Rhodes ready to go to work here in Pensacola. His opponent, Philip Rowe, they call him the Fresh Prince. If you look at the man, you'll see why. He has a resemblance to Will Smith, an accomplished mixed martial artist himself, 6-2, on a nice win streak in MMA, winning his last 5 bouts. And he too, like Mike Rhodes, has a well-versed attack. He's won 2 fights by knockout, 4 fights by submission, and he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu brown belt. So tonight, without the strikes, he gets to show off that brown belt against a very experienced fighter.
Yeah, you know, he's going to be a little bit smaller. He's a little undersized, but I think what he lacks in size, he's going to make up for with his length, and that's one thing that we oftentimes don't appreciate or realize, that length is a bigger asset to have than actually size sometimes. Right. And he's a long individual. It's going to be very difficult. So I think if Biggie gets on top of him, his length alone, Philip Rowe's length alone, will be a problem for Biggie.
The Fresh Prince, Philip Rowe, inside the ring for this jiu-jitsu contest. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape for Rowe versus Rhodes. The MMA records on display there, 6-2 for Philip Rowe, 12-6 for Mike Biggie Rhodes. Rhodes 1 year the elder. Rowe 2 inches taller. The reach for Philip Rowe, 83, 74 for Biggie Rhodes. For our official introductions, here's Christopher James.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you for tuning in on Ryoulive. We're happy you're tuning in to see this show tonight, presented by Toole Promotions. This next match is being brought to you by Banks Construction. This is a super grappling match, scheduled for 1 10-minute round. Only way to win is by submission. If we get to the end of 10 minutes, then we will end in a draw, according to the referee. And now, let's meet our competitors. Introducing first, grappling from the blue corner, standing 6 feet even, representing Rufus Sport MMA Academy, and fighting out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Please welcome Mike Biggie Rhodes. And his opponent, grappling out of the red corner, standing 6 feet 3, representing Fusion XL, and fighting out of Ocoee, Florida. Please welcome Phil, the Fresh Prince Rowe.
1 10-minute round of jiu-jitsu. Philip Rowe, Mike Biggie Rhodes. One thing to note here, it's interesting. Mike Rhodes wearing a rash guard, Philip Rowe not wearing the rash guard. I've seen that before in grappling contests where a fighter won't wear a rash guard, and that actually allows them to get away sometimes when their opponent has hooks on them. It's less friction for them to grab a hold of.
However, I don't know if it's going to play that much of an effect here on this canvas.
Sure.
Because it'll wipe some of the sweat off. So he'll still be, I don't think it'll have as much of an effect with that.
These guys getting after it right away, clinching up. Sometimes you have more of a feeling out process, but content to clinch earlier, both these men.
Yeah, they're just feeling each other, seeing how strong each other, seeing who's stronger in that type of situation. But I expect it to, at moments, be kind of slow. I mean, I think these guys are going to try to utilize.
Philip Rowe, got to worry about that neck.
He's threatening the neck. This
Also,
could be dangerous up against the...
Nicely done by Rowe, able to survive that. You mentioned the corner there. That's not something you get all that often in a grappling match to utilize.
Yeah. But the fact that he was able to get his hips outside of the ropes is what saved him in that choke. Yeah, Philip Rowe, feeling the size of Biggie Rhodes, trying that inside trip, just can't get Biggie Rhodes off balance.
Look at the body types of these two men. They're built very different from one another. Rowe, very long and lengthy, where Biggie Rhodes, more solid. I don't want to call the man stocky, but
he's solid.
Nice takedown there by Mike Biggie Rhodes, now inside.
Yeah, and that was a beautiful throw, a beautiful trip, and he's going to end up, which put him in side control, which gives him a big advantage here, especially being the bigger guy. He was able to get away from those legs automatically, and but okay, so now Philip Rowe puts himself in half guard, which is what he needed to do, and now his legs and like I said, his length will come into play at this point on.
8 minutes remaining in the round, and now that's a jiu-jitsu match, no judges involved here. Should it go the full 10 minutes, we'll have a draw. There's no real advantage or disadvantage per se in position in a match like this. You're not trying to impress the judges, you're just trying to do your best to show off your skills and grab a submission if one presents itself.
Yeah.
Deep half now here for Philip Rowe.
Now, Philip Rowe trains with some really good guys. He trains with Jacare Souza and Rodolfo Vieira, world champions. But that's also from an MMA perspective,
right.
So it's a little bit different. But he has felt the type of pressure that Biggie Rhodes is going to give him.
And Jacare Souza, one of the heavier guys. Straight knee bar attempt here for Mike Biggie Rhodes. Hard to see where that knee is of Philip Rowe.
It's obviously affecting him a little bit. You see Philip Rhodes' face, but it's not fully deep enough to I think, to finish.
Rowe has a hold of that left foot of Rhodes and able to get clear.
But it obviously doesn't surprise me for one of these gentlemen to go for a leg lock, because it's kind of the easiest attack to finish a fight, especially when you're dealing with no points or no winner if it does go the entire time.
Close guard here for Philip Rowe. Trying to grab a hold of the back of the neck is Rowe. He bails on it. Has that arm maybe locked up, but still close guard. Looked like Rowe is maybe trying to angle off to the side.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be, again, and this is where I think the size advantage of Biggie Rhodes plays an effect, because it's hard to get him off balance.
Right.
And Rowe has to have some tricks up his sleeve to try to get him off balance. Looks like he's working a triangle. But to off-balance Biggie Rhodes is going to be very difficult, because he is very aware of what's going on. Not only just big, but he's very aware of what's going on.
In that triangle position, while you can go for the triangle, it does open up some other opportunities. Fighter trying to defend against a triangle might find themselves vulnerable to an arm bar, or maybe switch into an omoplata. And another thing here in this position, I think, Dean, is while Philip Rowe is going for a submission, if he doesn't get the submission, there's also other victories there, and maybe inducing a scramble and getting, into a better position.
Yeah, but, and that's just going to come down to what his, again, when we talk about game plans and strategies, it's really going to come down to what he had in mind early, going into this match.
Right.
Where did he think he had the advantage in his fight? I don't know if he expected to be on top or on bottom, but, I thought he would be on bottom, so he has to have some sort of game plan.
Ooh, Kimura maybe upcoming here for Rhodes. He's in that half guard, though. It's interesting that he's really trying to clear the legs before he actually gets a hold of that Kimura.
Yeah, he lost to Kimura. Okay, so now, now with less than 5 minutes left, I'm not sure if they're aware of that, but I think that, with less than 5 minutes left, I think the burden is on Philip Rowe to really start attacking. I mean, even though he's, it's going to go to a decision, but, I think the burden is on him to start attacking. He's got more ground to catch up on. It's going to be harder for him to get something going than it is for Biggie being on top.
Restart in the middle of the ring. Whizzer here now employed. Rowe trying to get back to his feet, but now sprawled out upon. Got to protect that neck. Half guard.
Yeah, Biggie pretty content with what he's done so far. I mean, he could still, don't get me wrong, he can afford to take some chances himself, but I think he's pretty content with being in control here and staying on top. and not allowing and not making many mistakes. He's not making mistakes, not taking many chances, but he's not making any mistakes.
Rowe trying to get a sweep here in this deep half. 3.5 minutes remain here in this 1 10-minute round. TJ DeSantis, Dean Thomas, tonight here for Dean Toole Promotions, Pensacola Base Center in Pensacola, Florida. In our main event, Jorge Masvidal takes on Anthony Showtime Pettis.
Biggie gets to the mount.
See what Rhodes is able to do with this mount. You see Rowe protecting his arms. Laughing a little bit is Rowe.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are just having fun. I mean,
Right.
you could tell, like, even when they first came out, they slapped high fives. They're just having a good time.
It's the gentle art. You can have a conversation when you do it. Rowe gets back to his feet. Comes off the ropes.
Tries to shoot a double. What
All in
is
good
this
fun.
What is
All in
this
good fun. Clinched up now. Rowe put into the corner. Rowe trying to pummel in. Two men disengaged, now back at space. Biggie Rhodes feigning a takedown.
Biggie with a nice little throw by to the single leg, snatch single.
Rhodes done this a few times where he tries to get a 2-on-1 on that right arm of Rhodes. What's he looking for there, Dean?
Well, he's just trying to you know, the thing is, especially when you're dealing with somebody bigger, you have to try to isolate as much as you can. You want to isolate the smaller parts of a person. And no one of these, you know, he's undersized here, so he's just trying to isolate at least one of Biggie's arms and seeing if he can control that. Because he can't go to him face head on. He's trying to isolate the arm, maybe create an angle. But again, I think, you know, not only is Biggie bigger, but I think he might be even a little bit better in terms of skill. Biggie's a black belt, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're better. But I think he might actually even be a little bit better in terms of skill-wise.
Final minute left for these athletes to work. Rowe able to get a takedown, lands inside. It's the first time we've seen Rowe really in control in top position.
And that was more of a failed throw. But Rowe did a good job of taking advantage of it. And again, his length, the fact that he is so long, he was able to sprawl out and not allow Biggie to roll him. Biggie looked like he wanted to roll him, but Rowe, as long as he was able to sprawl his legs out and maintain position.
Knee on belly, trying to get the mount, and Biggie Rhodes able to adjust. He's in top position now, less than 30 remain.
Again, it looks like 20 seconds left. Looks somebody's going for a leg here, seeing if he can try to secure it, but doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Rowe wisely crossing his legs here now. Dying seconds of the match. Biggie Rhodes trying to get.
That could be dangerous.
And that's a wrap. Philip Rowe was in some trouble there at the latter part of the match, but this one will end in a draw. And Rowe, I think, may hurt his knee a little bit as he's standing up there.
Maybe
ginger.
Maybe that would be unfortunate for him to have hurt his knee in a situation like this, but
fun matchup though.
Yeah, fun. It was a lot of fun. I thought they had a lot of fun. I mean, they were playing around, and you know, you saw the little WWE antics by Philip Rowe, but you know, no winner here. Biggie clearly the better grappler of the two, used his size to his advantage. Rowe wasn't able to use his length.
I'm more optimistic than you. No losers here.
No losers here. No losers.
See the action here in the clinch. This was that failed takedown that Rowe was able to land in top position. But 10 minutes down. This one's a draw to make it official. Here's Chris.
Ladies and gentlemen, how about a round of applause for these two gentlemen inside the ring tonight? After 10 minutes, after 10 minutes, man, we go to a draw. So let's hear for both these guys.
these athletes putting on a show inside the Pensacola Bay Center. They battle to a draw. All right, more action, mixed martial arts action headed your way next. This is Dean Toole Promotions, Masvidal versus Pettis.
Bantamweights will meet for some mixed martial arts action as Griffin Fisk takes on Jada Alicia. You're watching Dean Toole Promotions, Masvidal versus Pettis.
Bantamweights on the way to the ring. Mixed martial arts action between Griffin Fisk and Jada Alicia. Alicia fighting out of Orlando, Florida at Fusion XL. She's also trained at the Jungle MMA with former Invicta FC featherweight champion Felicia Spencer, who just fought in the UFC in her debut, defeating Megan Anderson. I spoke with Felicia a little bit earlier today, and she had a lot of kind things to say about Alicia, saying that she had a lot of talent, and this is her first fight. Her first fight was back in 2015. She won by guillotine, then went on a bit of a skid. And again, don't judge an athlete by their record per se, especially in the amateur ranks. Spencer kept talking about Alicia's ability and the talent. It just hasn't, translated into victories quite yet, but she was very complimentary of her, and someone of the high regard of Felicia Spencer, former Invicta champion. She's not going to sugarcoat it. If she's got talent, she's going to say it.
Yeah, well, again, sometimes it's a mental thing. It's not always a physical thing. Sometimes it's a mental thing. And if it's mental, you never know when they're going to turn it around. And it could just be, maybe they're speaking with a sports psychologist. You just never know when they're going to turn it around, and maybe today is the night, maybe tonight is the night where she turns it around.
She had a long time off between her first and second fights. It was 2 years between those two, and then she fought fights 2, 3, and 4, all within 3 months of one another. So she went from having a very long layoff to back to back to back. And she's hungry, she's trying to get after it, and tonight she will hunt for her second win of her amateur career.
I think I'm familiar with this young lady. I think she had a grappling match with UFC flyweight Jillian Robertson a few months ago.
Well, tonight she's in the ring here in Pensacola and hopes to put on a show. Her opponent, Griffin Fisk, 3-1 in her amateur run, 2 wins by submission. Both of those wins by rear naked choke. Coming off the first loss of her career, it was by decision. And this is her first fight since that one, and it's been a 10-month layoff. For some fighters, 10 months is a long time. For others, not so much. You kind of see, like the old adage is ring rust, ring rust.
Yeah.
That affects a lot of different people in different ways.
It does affect them in different ways. I think as an amateur fighter, 10 months is a long time, depending on what you have going on in your life. A lot of amateur fighters are still in school or younger, and 10 months may not be that big of a deal to them. But if you're an amateur fighter trying to come up, you have to fight a little bit more frequently than 10 months, I think. Unless, again, like I said, you have a lot of other stuff going on in your life. But a 10-month layoff as an amateur fighter can be kind of tough to deal with.
Bantamweight's inside the ring, mixed martial arts action on tap. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape. Griffin Fisk, 3-1. Jada Alicia, 1-4. Alicia is 6 years the elder. She's also 5 inches taller. 6-inch reach advantage for Jada Alicia. On point at 136, the 1 pound allowance, 135 for Griffin Fisk. For our official introductions of this bantamweight affair, here's Christopher James.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we go with our next bout of the evening. This next bout is brought to you by our friends at Divvies and Tattoos and Tapers. Set for 3 3-minute rounds in the Dean Toole Promotions Women's Bantamweight Division. When the action starts inside the ring, our referee, Mr. Larry Downs Jr. And now, let's meet our fighters. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, standing 5 feet 11 inches tall, weighing in at 136 pounds. Please welcome, representing Fusion XL and fighting out of Orlando, Florida, Jada Alicia. opponent. Fighting out of the red corner, standing 5'6" and weighing in at 135 pounds. Representing Checkmate, BJJ, and fighting out of Daphne, Alabama. Please welcome Griffin Fisk.
Larry Downs Jr. getting this bantamweight assignment. It is Jada Alicia and Griffin Fisk. As these two ladies meet in the center of the ring, you can see that not all bantamweights are built the same. Alicia very tall and long. See if she can utilize that reach here in this contest.
Different demeanors going in. Alicia bouncing in the corner. Her opponent stoic.
Alicia in the black with blue trim. Fisk in the all black. Trying to get that jab early going is Alicia, but Fisk able to fight her way into the clinch.
Yeah, she's got to be careful running in with her head down low against such a tall opponent.
Ooh, hard right uppercut there by Alicia. Fisk still coming forward.
Again, that's another one of the reasons, either knees to the body or those uppercuts when you come in straight in on such a tall opponent.
Not something a fighter wants to be known for, but Fisk showing off her ability to take a punch.
Yeah, she ate that uppercut rather easily.
Yeah. Again, that uppercut.
Yeah, you know, Alicia doing a good job of using that jab to find the punch that she wants. And she's using that jab, getting that head down, and then just throwing that uppercut effortlessly.
Trying to fight the hands here. This body lock is Alicia. Hard for Fisk to control her when she's honestly just that much taller than her. Just kind of bullying her into the corner despite having her back to her opponent is Alicia.
Yeah, she's got to try to get her off balance using leg trips.
90 seconds remain here in round number one. Really trying to muscle her to the floor now is Fisk, but unable to do so thus far.
Yeah, but Fisk is doing the right job of, again, isolating that leg and trying to use trips to get her off balance. She just had to keep moving her in different directions. Just keep going. There you go. Just keep going in different directions until you get what you want.
Now in mount here is Fisk. Wise to set up her position before throwing any strikes. 1 minute remains here in round number one. Trying to keep her close is Alicia, but Fisk slowly getting some posture here. S-mount here now for Fisk. Trying to attack that right arm of Alicia.
Yeah, interesting tactic. She just kind of put her leg over her arm to be able to throw punches. Now she's in a triangle with 30 seconds to go. That's plenty of time. That's a long time to be stuck in a mounted triangle.
Now trying to pull the head is Fisk. There's the tap. It is done. Griffin Fisk by submission. Mounted triangle. Not a submission you see all that often, but very dominant once she got up to the floor. Griffin Fisk.
Yeah,
now 4-1.
Yeah, beautiful execution, just isolating that leg over the arm of Alicia, then rolling into the triangle.
She really had multiple options there with that triangle. Go for the choke or rain down punches, and she pulled the head, and Alicia was forced to tap.
Yeah, she had all kinds of options. As we look at it again, that uppercut was just a thing of beauty from Alicia. She just wasn't able to maintain that. But Fisk got in close, got her down, was able to get the mount, secure the triangle. Beautiful execution. Didn't even wait for the referee to break it up. Kind of an amateur mistake. You never really want to do that. But again, a learning experience for her.
Absolutely. Griffin Fisk should be proud of her performance. Submission getting it done here in round number one. For our official time of the stoppage, here's Chris.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Larry Downs Jr. calls a halt to this bout at 2:38 of round number one, declaring your winner by submission via mounted triangle, Griffin Fisk!
Her hand raised for the 4th time in her amateur run. Griffin Fisk victorious via submission here in Pensacola. Supreme Patty, he is ready to make his boxing debut next. You're watching Dean Toole Promotions, Masvidal versus Pettis.
My real name is Patrick Wallace, but most know me by Supreme Patty. I've always been into boxing, and kind of when I started the comedian stuff, I kind of lost my stuff. You know, I always used to be in the gym, always used to be training, and once I got into that, I was so busy, so I kind of like started gaining weight. Now I'm gonna really get back into it and focus on myself again, because I think I could actually be pretty good at it.
My name is Rudy Prieto. I'm from Pensacola, Florida, by way of Albuquerque, New Mexico. He's a famous guy with a lot of followers, and from what I've heard, a hard worker. That's all.
1, 2, now. 1, 2. There you go. Pat's a good guy, very courageous guy. He learns so fast. I mean, he picks up stuff immediately almost. And then he got very good punching power, especially in the right hand. Right? Out. There you go. Do it again.
For this fight, I definitely had to wake my ass up 5 o'clock in the morning, start running. I had to do a lot of running after work. Man, I did this on top of work. I'm ready to go. I hit the bag. I hit pads. I did whatever I had to do because I'm coming here to win.
I'm just trying to do this the right way, you know, unlike most celebrities, just fighting other celebrities, and none of them know how to actually fight, so they're just going in there trying to make money and get publicity and whatnot. But, you know, I'm going to take the training seriously and do my 5 amateur fights, see how I feel, maybe go pro, and get in there with the big dogs and go from there.
This is going to be an old school brawl type fight. I'm talking Chris Lieben, Yoshihiro Akiyama throwdown fight. Come watch, because if you don't, you're going to miss one of the greatest fights you've seen in a while.
I'm ready to knock people out.
The time is now. Supreme Patty making his boxing debut here in Pensacola. He takes on Rudy Prieto. Prieto has some amateur mixed martial arts experience, 1-0. As an MMA fighter, 0-1 as an amateur boxer. And tonight he hopes to pick up a huge win. It's not very often that you get to fight someone in your first fight that is known by millions of people, and it's their first fight too.
Yeah, this is a unique experience for, I think, everybody in attendance.
Right.
To see something like this, to see a boxing match between these two guys. Supreme Patty, an internet sensation.
Truly.
Putting his reputation on the line and fighting a real fight. Training hard to fight a real fight.
I mean, not that there's any bad blood here, but Patty, with all the followers, Rudy Prieto would love to be able to tell all his friends, look, I beat that guy up.
Look, I beat this guy, yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's in a unique position to where he could kind of piggyback off of all those followers that Supreme Patty brings.
And that's the thing. Patty talks about how he thinks he could be good at this. This is not new to Rudy Prieto. He's fought in amateur mixed martial arts. He's fought in amateur boxing. He wants to be a fighter. What better way to propel your career than by beating someone with 7 million followers?
Yeah, and, you know, I don't think this guy is, you know, going to be a walk in the park. I mean, you heard in his interview, I had to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I mean, they didn't just, you know, find a guy that they thought Supreme Patty could beat. I mean, this guy is a legit guy. So, I mean, he looks to be in shape. Looks to have his gloves on his right hand.
Right. So Rudy Prieto wants to make a name for himself
for sure
by beating Supreme Patty.
He referenced an old school name that I thought you would appreciate, the Chris Lieben.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Chris Lieben Akiyama fight.
Chris Lieben, known as the Crippler. He used to have the best nickname in MMA, the Cat Smasher.
Yeah.
I love that, but he shed it.
I wonder why they changed that.
Patrick Wallace, a.k.a. Supreme Patty, making the walk. Look at that. First fight, he's already got a matching entourage. Young man is ready to go, 21 years old. He's worked with the great Roy Jones Jr. And Roy, again, he's not one to sugarcoat anything. He said that Patty's a hard worker, was picking things up quickly. Roy Jones Jr. has no reason to be nice to Supreme Patty. And for him to say nice things about him, that's a testament.
Yeah, and like I said, I talked to Charles Rosa, UFC fighter Charles Rosa, and he said, man, he said he hits hard. He said he hits hard. He says he's got like 3 knockouts in the street. And Charles was like, I don't have 3 knockouts in the street. So that says something.
Right. Supreme Patty hopes to get a knockout in the ring here tonight. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape for this match. Patrick Wallace, Supreme Patty making his debut. Rudy Prieto, 0-1 on his amateur boxing run. Prieto, 6 years the elder. He stands 6 inches taller, and Prieto will have a 2-inch reach advantage. The time has arrived for our official introductions. We have to wait a moment, apparently. Not exactly sure what the issue is here. All right, now we're good to go. Christopher James with our introductions.
Excellent.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, all you folks right here at Pensacola, let me hear you make some noise. And you folks at Ryoulive, I hope you're ready. It's time right now for one of our feature bouts of the evening. This one is being brought to you by our friends at Billy Clark Bail Bonds, and is set for 3 2-minute rounds in Dean Toole Promotions Amateur Boxing Division. When the action starts inside the ring, our referee, Larry Downs Jr. And now, let's meet our boxers. Introducing first, boxing out of the blue corner. Standing 6 feet even and weighing in 168.4 pounds. Tonight, he comes to the ring with a record of 0 wins and 1 defeat. Representing Deepwater MMA and fighting out of Pensacola, Florida, please welcome Rudy Prieto. And his opponent, boxing out of the red corner, standing 5 feet 6, weighing in at 174.4 pounds. Tonight, he is making his debut. Representing the Shrimp Gang and fighting out of Daytona Beach, please welcome the internet worldwide sensation, the one and only Patrick Supreme Patty Wallace.
While he's known all over the world on the internet, I gotta say that Rudy Prieto, he's right there with Supreme Patty as far as fan support here inside the Pensacola Bay Center.
Prieto looked a little nervous, though, when they announced his name. I thought he looked a little nervous.
I mean, this is his second amateur boxing fight, and heck, it's on pay-per-view to a worldwide audience. I'd be a little bit nervous, too.
He looked a little nervous, so he's going to have to try to deal with that right away.
He's a much taller fighter here. See how he can utilize that, come over the top of the right hand, but Patty working that jab, mixing it up, going to the body. Nice right hand by Prieto. Covering up his Patty.
Patty doing a good job of at least keeping his hands in the right place.
Patty encouraging Prieto to come forward. So far, Patty not really showing the effects of these punches, willing to take some shots to give some. Nice right hand by Prieto. Patty coming forward. Prieto starting to get a little bit comfortable. Nice right hand.
Well, I think Prieto is going to get tired. It looks like he's throwing a lot of punches that aren't really having a major effect, and I feel like he's going to get tired.
Look at Patty just screaming at Prieto.
Yeah. He's an internet sensation for a reason.
And I think you hit the nail on the head about something. Patty in his first amateur boxing fight, but this young man is a fighter. He's at home getting hit. He wants to give some back.
He's taken every punch well.
That's got to be a bit demoralizing for Prieto as well. I mean, he's hit him plenty of times, but Patty looks no worse for the wear.
And he said, and he screamed in the corner, hit me, hit me.
Prieto trying to oblige him, but Patty throwing some shots of his own. You see the form of Prieto starting to get a little bit more loose and sloppy. Nice punch for Patty.
Patty lands a stiff jab.
Final 10 seconds of this opening round.
But Prieto's slowing down significantly.
First round in the books. Prieto landed more offense than Patty, but it looks like Prieto's the one that's a bit more demoralized as he walks to the corner.
He seems a bit I don't want to say frustrated, but just like you said, demoralized, and I don't see the momentum going his way. I think that was going to be his best round.
And he can't keep that pace up either.
Because I think he gave everything he had, and it didn't work.
We'll see if he makes some adjustments here headed into round number 2. Dean, walk us through this action.
He's trying to put the pressure on Patty, and this is one of my favorite parts here. Patty just yelled out, "Hit me, hit me, hit me," and then started firing back, getting a little tied up in the ropes, but firing back on Prieto, and I think that demoralized Prieto, especially when he threw him down there. That demoralized him more than anything else.
They say you can't teach heart. Supreme Patty's got a lot of heart. See if he has some offense to throw back the way of Rudy Prieto. TJ DeSantis, Dean Thomas inside Pensacola Bay Center tonight. Dean Toole Promotions presents Masvidal versus Pettis. That is our main event. But right now, round 2 about to get underway. Supreme Patty and Rudy Prieto. I like the form here of Patty. I mean, he's taking some shots, but he's got his hands up. Now he drops them. Trying to get in the head of Prieto, who smirks.
Yeah, I think that one of the biggest things for Prieto is he's using his reach advantage, and it's giving it a hard time for Patty to get in there.
Nice right hand by Patty, but Prieto landed a few shots of his own. Now up in the ropes here. Patty trying to circle away, trying to land some big right hands on the break.
He's got to tie his glove. That's a little sneaky right-handed Patty snuck in there.
It's clear if Prieto's going to win this fight, he's got to keep this pace up, and he's just got to stop Patty. Patty's not going to let up in this fight, even if he's taking a lot of shots. Time maybe not necessarily on the side of Patty here with Prieto getting this offense going, but Supreme Patty's showing the heart of a warrior. Now he's trying to get the referee to take care of his glove.
Which is unfortunate, too, because I think he should have just let that happen later, because Prieto was starting to get tired. Now you give him Prieto time to breathe, and I think he should have kept the pressure on Prieto. He should have put pressure on him. Yeah, you gave Prieto a chance to break and catch his breath.
Big right hand over the top by Patty. Prieto able to answer. Now short little shots on the inside. Prieto going to the body. Patty taking Prieto's best punches here.
Yep, I think that body shot might have hurt Patty.
Eats a left hand there. Here in the latter part of the second round, Patty's still throwing shots. Almost a clash of heads then.
Yeah, Patty's got to start throwing, so he's got to start throwing more punches, and he can't wait much longer.
2 rounds in the books between Rudy Prieto and Supreme Patty. Another solid round for Prieto. I think Patty, in his first boxing match here, he's starting to understand it's hard to fight a much longer fighter like Prieto, and Prieto's using that reach.
Well, I think he's starting to understand a lot,
right,
that it's not as easy as it looks on TV. But you know what? Again, hats off to him for finding that out firsthand and not just saying, oh, this is what I would do if I was him, or this is what I would do. He's in here now. He's in the thick of it. He knows what it feels like to sit on that stool going into the last round, that feeling.
And he's got intensity written all over his face. I mean, while maybe this fight isn't going his way per se, he's far from out of this. I think you're going to have to stop this man before he stops fighting.
No, he's in it. He's not giving up. He's in it.
Headed to the final round. 2 minutes left for these gentlemen to keep it out of the judges' hands. And we are underway. See what the game plan here is of Prieto, if he wants to rest on the performance that he's already turned in. Looks like he's coming forward with that jab again. Patty eats another stiff jab by Prieto. Pensacola Bay Center coming alive for Supreme Patty. 90 seconds left in the fight.
Patty's still not out of this. The crowd is cheering him on. He can still come back. He eats a couple shots. He's eating them shots well, though. For a guy who's never had a boxing match, he's taking shots and still coming back, countering.
Hard right hand by Patty, but Prieto, no worse for the wear.
Patty's throwing that overhand right. I think he should mix it up and throw it underneath, because it's just missing over the top. He might want to change the direction of it.
Final minute of this matchup, both fighters slowing a little bit. Nice stiff left hand by Patty. Two men disengage. Coming up with the final 30 seconds of this match. Nice right hand by Patty. And over the top with another right hand.
Another right hand by Patty. Again, it's just catching the back of Prieto, but if he would come underneath, he probably catch a little more square to his face.
Final 10 seconds, what's gonna happen? Supreme Patty, Rudy Prieto. That's a wrap. Nice sign of sportsmanship by Rudy Prieto. Supreme Patty officially in the books now as an amateur boxer. Look at some of this action here. Patty was definitely game, trying to throw everything he had at Prieto. Prieto landed a nice right hand there in that sequence. And again, a learning experience for Supreme Patty. His first boxing match here tonight. He was durable, he was game, he was gritty. And he's doing it the right way. Win, lose, or draw. Tonight, Supreme Patty did what you're supposed to do when you dip your foot into combat sports. You don't get to be a pro right away. You don't fight Floyd Mayweather in your first fight. Well, unless you're Conor McGregor, but that's a different story. It wasn't his first fight. Supreme Patty, an amateur boxer. He will have his decision rendered. Rudy Prieto, though, very offensive in this match. Really utilized his reach in this fight, and it was difficult for Patty to deal with. And again, should Supreme Patty continue his boxing career, gonna walk away with a lot of good things, a lot of learning lessons from this. But Rudy Prieto, very happy with his performance. We'll see what the judges say. Never say never. They could have seen a different fight than Dean Thomas and I had ringside, but they will render their decision here in just one moment. Rudy Prieto, Supreme Patty go 3 rounds. To make this one official, here's Christopher James.
Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, make some noise for these men inside the ring. After 3 rounds, we go to the judges for a decision. Judge number 1 scored at 29-28. Judge 2 scores at 29-28. Judge 3 scores it 30-27. For your winner, by unanimous decision, Rudy Prieto.
No surprise there, Rudy Prieto getting the nod. He will speak with Dean Thomas.
Supreme Patty, first off, congratulations. And I think I speak for everybody in here. We appreciate the good scrap that you gave us. But first, Rudy, I'm gonna come to you. What does it mean for you to get a victory over an internet sensation like Supreme Patty?
Hey, I promised my mom, my kids, my whole family I wouldn't lose. And I put in the work, man, with a full-time job. I fucking love my life.
Supreme Patty, it's an honor for us to have you here, for you to put your reputation on the line in front of all your millions of fans and have this boxing match. How do you rate your performance?
Well, first of all, my reputation isn't going to be messed up, win or loss. Let me get that out there first. And I feel like I did pretty good, but I've only been training about a month. You know, I just started getting into it. I was weighing like 200 pounds, dropped like 30 pounds in a month. So I'm gonna come out here again and put in some work.
We appreciate both of you guys. What's next for you, Rudy?
Dude, like, for only doing this for 3 months, Patty's got it going on, man. Nothing but love for the dude. I love a good fight, man. For real. Come back. Come back and beat that piece of shit, Jake Paul, and I'll be one of them motherfuckers after you. I don't give a fuck. Quick. Logan Paul, let's make it happen. Supreme Patty versus Jake Paul. Rudy versus Logan Paul. Let's fucking go.
And how about you? What would you like to see happen for you next?
I'm gonna just keep working on fight whenever opportunities come, you know.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for these two gentlemen.
Rudy Prieto on top of the world tonight with his victory over Supreme Patty. He wants a Paul. I'm looking at Supreme Patty. He wants to go back to the drawing board, which says a lot about this young man and his ambition in boxing. Rudy Prieto victorious tonight over Supreme Patty. More action headed your way. Mixed martial arts, the title is on the line. Straight ahead, you're watching Dean Toole Promotions, Masvidal versus Pettis.
An amateur middleweight mixed martial arts title will be on the line next in Pensacola as SD Dumas faces Mike Lee. Straight ahead, it's Dumas versus Lee. You're watching Dean Toole Promotions, Masvidal versus Pettis.
An amateur middleweight title will be on the line here next in Pensacola. Mike Lee making the walk, 4-1 on his amateur MMA run. He's won 3 of his last 4, and all 4 of his victories come by way of knockout, and that says something about a fighter that not only goes out there to win a fight, but goes out there to finish.
Yeah, I mean, you know what you're getting from him. He's swinging hard. Either that or he's extremely accurate. But either way, you always have to be careful with guys like that because, you know, if he's coming out there and he's got 4 knockouts, you know what you're getting yourself into.
This is also his first fight scheduled at middleweight. He's competed primarily at light heavyweight. He's never fought more than twice in a single year. This is his second fight already of 2019. Former light heavyweight champion in the Rise of a Warrior promotion. And tonight he hopes to pick up another belt when he takes on SD Dumas. Tell me about what it's like to cut down to a different weight class for the first time. We talked a little bit about it earlier, but there's a big gap. The biggest gap in all of mixed martial arts weight classes is that 20-pound difference between 185 and 205 pounds. And for Mike Lee, this is his first time to middleweight.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it can be very difficult. Again, it depends on your frame, though, because some guys probably should be fighting at 185 anyway, and they're fighting at 205, and they're just kind of out of shape,
right?
And they don't have the frame to support it. So it just really depends on your frame, because I almost feel like some weight cuts are more strenuous. You know, going from 70 to 55 might even be more strenuous than this actual weight cut, even though in numbers it's less. But it'll be interesting to see how he does perform, you know, at a lighter weight. I think he had some troubles trying to make the weight, which is not a good sign. But that has a lot to do with your camp, more so than anything else. It has a lot to do with your camp.
Not making weight is never a good thing, but if there is ever a get-out-of-jail-free card, I gotta believe it comes at the amateur ranks on your first initial weight cut to a new weight class. You're already
no, for sure. I mean, it's terrible sometimes, right? Because, you know, when you're talking about professionals, you're talking about guys who get paid to do this.
Right.
Now, amateurs, these guys don't get paid to do. They have jobs. Some of them have 2 jobs. Some of them are just doing this for fun. So you're right. They almost should get a get-out-of-free card in a sense, because they're not getting paid for this.
Learning.
And it's hard to cut weight.
Yep.
If you ask any fighter, the part that they hate about fighting the most is cutting weight. And you're almost asking these guys to do that part. I mean, again, you have to learn how to do it, but sometimes it's hard.
I've heard time and time again, Chuck Liddell said this, a lot of fighters will say this, that the work is put in training and cutting weight. Fighting is fun. That's the reward at the end of the tunnel.
It's the fun part, and it's 100% correct. Like right now, these guys are having fun. But prior to this, leading up to this, the last 2 weeks, especially when you're cutting weight, you're calorically deficient. you're thirsty, you're hungry, you're tired. It's terrible. And like you're talking about kids that are just kind of doing this for fun almost. Right. Unless like they're on a fast track to try to make it as a pro, but it's hard for them.
A lot of people have some big things planned for SD Dumas, undefeated as an amateur, 9-0. Victories a variety of different ways. Summit FC middleweight champion tonight. He hopes to put on a show here in Pensacola. Let's take a look at the tail to tape for this amateur title fight. SD Dumas 9-0, 4-1 is Mike Lee. Lee 1 year the elder. Both men stand 6 feet 2 inches tall and have a 79-inch reach. Mike Lee, bit over the weight limit there, 187 to Dumas's 185 pounds. For our official introductions of this contest, here's Christopher James.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we go with our next bout of the evening. This one is being brought to you by our good friends at End Still Nutrition. This one is scheduled for 3 3-minute rounds in the Dean Toole Promotions middleweight division, and this one is for the middleweight championship. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, standing 6 feet 2 and weighing in at 187 pounds. Tonight, he brings to the ring a record of 4 wins and 1 defeat. Representing Combat Club and fighting out of Boynton Beach, Florida, please welcome Mike Lee. His opponent, fighting out of the red corner, standing 6 feet 2, weighing 185 ready pounds. Tonight, he brings to the ring a perfect record, 9 wins, 0 defeats. Representing Deepwater MMA and 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu, fighting out of Pensacola, Florida, please welcome SD Unbroken Dumas.
Amateur middleweight title on the line. Our referee for this contest, Larry Downs Jr. Mike Lee on the left side of your screen there. In the darker shorts, SD Dumas in the white.
Yeah, this is a great matchup. You got a guy 4-1, 4 knockouts, and then a guy 9-0.
Very similar in body size as well.
Yeah.
There was a lot of talk yesterday at weigh-ins about whether or not this should still be an MMA fight, with Lee coming up short in the scales, but both these guys have aspirations to compete in MMA. We see Dumas putting it on him with some shots here early.
Yeah, both guys utilizing the jab well.
Oh, nice right hand there by Dumas. A lot of volume being thrown. See if Lee can get some of his own going. Now into the clinch. Trying to push on the face there is Lee. Got to make sure he doesn't get his fingers in the eyes.
Yeah, it's hard to tell, again, as I was saying with one of the earlier fights, it's hard to tell what these guys are really trying to execute. Now, it looks like Dumas is, you see, just when I thought maybe he wanted to strike with him, you know, he takes a bad shot.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to tell, you know, what their strategies are going into this, because they seem to be unclear at times. That's a great fake shot to a right hand, though, from Mike Lee, though.
Lee trying to come back with some offense of his own. Now some shots find a home. I think one got in there for Lee, but now back into the clinch. 90 seconds remain here in round number 1. TJ DeSantis, Dean Thomas here tonight, Pensacola Bay Center. Don't forget, in our co-main event, Yoel Romero takes on Chris Barnett. Grappling match in our main event, Jorge Masvidal takes on Anthony Showtime Pettis. Dumas tries to get a takedown there. Briefly got Lee to the floor, but stands right back up.
You know, he didn't have a lot of, he didn't secure it. A nice little drop, but he wasn't able to secure it. Just kind of let Lee get back to his feet, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to secure the round for him either.
Lee posturing on the face of Dumas with that forearm. It's amateur mixed martial arts. You cannot throw an elbow from that position. That's normally what guys do at the pro ranks. Now back at space. Pawing with that jab, faking it is Lee. Dumas firing, hard right hand.
Yeah, Mike Lee felt that right hand. I think that might be the deciding factor of that round.
Lee on the run, final 10 seconds here, can he last?
Another one.
Dumas clinching up here with Lee. We'll see if he can make space and land another combination. Time not on his side. First round in the books, and it ended with some beautiful offense from SD Dumas.
Yeah, he found a home for that right hand, was able to land 2 or 3 of them, one after the other, and he did it right. He did it right. He kept the pressure on him. You see it here? There it goes. Just keeping the pressure on him, landing them big shots. He took a bad shot for a takedown there, but there goes that right hand that dropped Lee momentarily.
The bell came at the right time for Lee. We'll see what sort of adjustments and whether or not he can collect himself here in the corner. Interesting looking at Lee's icing his body in the corner.
He might be hurt. He may have hurt a rib.
We'll see if Dumas recognized that. He was standing in his corner looking over at Lee. See if the body becomes a target here in round number 2. TJ DeSantis, Dean Thomas, Pensacola Bay Center.
That's a great shot from Mike Lee.
Nice.
I'm surprised he didn't do that earlier. I don't know why he didn't utilize that earlier, because that was a beautiful shot. And that tells me 2 things. 1, he can wrestle, and 2, he might be hurt.
Dumas able to reverse the position now, get a takedown of his own. Lee trying to get back to his feet. Guillotine maybe upcoming here. He's got a hold of that neck, but not able to secure it. We'll see if Lee goes back to that takedown. And like you said, he may be hurt to the body. He definitely got the fight to the floor early. Now it's a chopping leg kick, does Lee.
Yeah, he may be hurt because if his first instinct was to take a shot, he might not want to be on his feet.
Lee's still game here, throwing some strikes towards Dumas.
But I don't know why he would give up on it. I mean, it was such a beautiful shot. And a lot of times people give up on it just because it didn't work. It's like not throwing a jab because you missed. Keep going. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. It's working. It'll work eventually.
Now trying to attack that lead leg of Dumas's, Lee.
Now Dumas looks a bit confused, like he saw something that he don't like. So he's kind of slowed his action down.
Nice combination there by Dumas. Lee trying to go back to that takedown. And he gets it. We'll see if he can secure the position.
Uh-oh, he's in a guillotine. This is pretty tight.
He's stepping over the legs, though.
He might finish here.
Trying to put some pressure on the face.
He might have to roll out of this.
He's definitely tight. But he's got a good position here, Dean. He just... Oh, now Dumas able to utilize the choke to get in top position. Open guard here of Lee.
See, what I see from Lee is that he can wrestle, but he's not good on the ground. So once he gets there, he's not good transitionally in keeping guys down. He can get them down, but he can't keep them there. He needs to work on his ground game and them transitions from being able to wrestle to having ground control.
I think that highlights the difference between the art of wrestling and the art of submission grappling in a roundabout way. You know, if you can get the takedown, that's great, but if you can't keep it there or do anything with it, it doesn't really serve its purpose.
Yeah, it's kind of a waste of energy, actually.
Final 30 seconds here of round number 2. Lee able to lock up this half guard. See if he utilizes it to stand. He's got his base back underneath him. Dumas up against the ropes here. That's the end of round number 2.
Yeah, good scrap. I think these guys are very evenly matched. this is very worthy of a title fight.
They're similar in body types, but stylistically a bit different.
Yeah, stylistically a bit different. But I'd like to see a little bit more clear-cut game planning from these guys. Again, they seem at times a bit confused as to what they want, so they're just like throwing things. And sometimes that's okay to see what your opponent will give you, but you also want to have some sort of plan where you want to go with what you're doing.
You know, the old saying is everyone has a game plan until they get punched in the face,
Yes.
you know, and here these fighters are learning so much so quickly in the amateur ranks that I think they just want to get out there and throw everything they got, you know.
Yeah, it seems that, and that happens, especially in this magnitude, this arena, you know. In 2 fights from now, Masvidal and Pettis will be in the ring, so.
Third and final round underway. SD Dumas in the white. Mike Lee, that's a nice kick to the lead leg of Dumas.
Yeah, those kicks are going to hurt in the morning.
Starting to see him get pretty confident with those kicks. Dumas trying to answer with some punches. See the difference between their kicking attacks. Dumas, he ends combinations with kicks. He's always throwing kicks with punches, where Lee, not so much. He goes for that takedown again. Caught once again by Dumas.
The bad shot, he didn't set it up. The intention was good. Just a bad shot that he needed to set up with some strikes or some feints. Great kick, front kick right there.
That one checked by Dumas. Touch under 2 minutes remain in the fight. We talk about the weight cut of Lee. It was a hard one for him. Generally in a fight, sometimes that shows in the latter part. This a 9-minute fight, not the traditional 15-minute pro fight, but we'll see if Lee's cardio falters here in the final 90 seconds at all.
Well, it seems to have been taking a toll. I mean, he's slowed down. He doesn't have a lot of bounce. He's still in the fight, don't get me wrong, but and I don't know if that was from the weight cut that he slowed down. It could just be, you know, maybe his pacing. He didn't manage his pacing properly. But or it could have been the right hands. He ate a couple of right hands that had an effect on him.
Dumas now has his back. Fighting the hands is Lee. 1 minute remains in the contest.
I'm interested to know where Mike Lee wrestled.
Dumas showing some blood there. I think he's cut over his left eye.
Oh, he's cut pretty bad.
Yeah, it is gushing.
I would try to hide that for the next, because he's winning the fight. It would be unfortunate for it to get stopped and him lose a fight for a fight that he's winning.
Especially in the final minute.
Yeah. I would hide that for the next 30 seconds.
That blood, it looks like the eyebrow is cut off to the side. But it is flowing. Final 30 seconds here. Dumas trying to jump on the back now. See if Lee can hula hoop him off.
10 seconds left. You know, I think Dumas would just be wise to just let this ride out.
Oof. Bloodied is Dumas, but solid performance by him. See how the judges will tally the scorecards. Fun fight.
Yeah, solid performance against a very game opponent.
Mike Lee definitely went after it. Saw his developing game. He had a good shot in the second round, was able to get the fight to the floor. Dumas, very scrappy though, able to get back to his feet. He's confident that he's won.
I love this shit. I love it.
We love watching you. That's Steve Dumas putting on a show inside Pensacola Bay Center.
I can't help but to notice the resemblance between him and 21 Savage. Is it just me, or do you see a resemblance?
It's there.
Okay.
I feel you.
Good.
Who's 21 Savage?
Okay. Jesus,
walk us through some of the action.
Okay, so he's running, taking a bad shot there, but he's following it up with strikes. I think the deciding factor in this fight really was that right hand of Dumas, in which he landed at will at times. Just when he found his range, he was able to get that right hand off. We saw another one there. And I think that was what really changed the game for Dumas, is that his right hand. It caused Mike Lee to make some bad decisions.
Judges tallying their 10s and 9s. We'll see if SD Dumas has picked up the 10th win of his career, or is it Mike Lee getting the 5th win of his career? The decision, it lies with Chris.
Ladies and gentlemen, how about a round of applause for these gentlemen inside the ring tonight? After 3 rounds, we go to the judges. All 3 judges scored the bout identically at 30-27. For your winner, by unanimous decision, SD Unbroken Dumas.
Maybe a bit bloody, but definitely unbroken. SD Dumas now 10-0 as an amateur. Excited to see this young man continue to grow.
And I like his name, too. He's got the name of an English literary writer from the 1800s.
SD Dumas. I like it.
Yeah, 2 initials and then a last name, Dumas.
I like dudes with 2 initials for their first name.
Yeah, I like that.
TJ DeSantis, Dean Thomas?
That's right, TJ DeSantis.
Right. I had to explain it to you. Maybe you're not a literary.
I'm not a literary.
All right. Our co-main event headed your way next. You're watching Dean Toole Promotions, Masvidal versus Pettis.
My name is Joel Romero, and I am fighter for the UFC. Right now, I am the number 2 in the world ranking on the world. I am the Olympic medals and 2009 silver medal. I have many medals in the wrestling championship. I am champion to the world from wrestling.
I've rolled with all these guys before, pretty much, you know what I mean? I've been up there with the Alistairs, the Daniel Cormiers. I've rolled with all those guys. So this is just a fun experience where everybody gets to experience what I get to experience. Being a fan, getting to roll with, one of my idols,
I had many experiences from wrestling. All my life I make wrestling, and wrestling is very good for grappling competition. My mind, my spirit, every time I stay and ready for the competition.
If you like entertaining stuff, if you want to see something that you're not used to seeing, if you want to see something that you think you couldn't do, but you see me doing it, that gives you the motivation to go do it, then boom, and then check me out. I'm telling you right now, I'll make you a believer.
I don't think one fighter has owned more different nicknames than Chris Barnett. He was Beast Boy, then he was Huggy Bear, now he's Beast Boy again. Entertaining to say the least. Both are fitting, though, of this.
Yeah,
this man.
I like Beast Boy, though. I've always kind of known him as Beast Boy. I've always liked Beast Boy.
But he used to have this, like, Huggy Bear outfit that he'd wear during the walk. Yeah. Come on, you can't look at Chris Barnett and say, oh, he looks like he doesn't give good hugs.
Okay.
Come on.
I mean, he is a lovable guy.
Right.
So you're right. Huggy Bear is fitting because he is a lovable guy.
Right.
He is like a teddy bear.
But he'll also spin kick your head off.
Yeah.
Not in this fight, though, hopefully, because that would not be legal. It's a grappling match.
No.
Chris Barnett making the walk. Really one of the biggest opportunities of his combat sports career. Obviously, he's a mixed martial artist. He's fought all over the world, but the opportunity that he has in front of him to take on someone like Yoel Romero, an Olympic silver medalist, he could make a name for himself tonight.
Yeah. I mean, again, and I said it earlier, I think this is a great opportunity to put a spotlight on him. I mean, even if he doesn't win, if he just showcases his ability, his athletic ability, and this is something that I've marveled at for years. I've been watching this kid for years, and I've always thought, wow, how does a guy this size move the way he does? If he's able to execute some of that tonight and he can get the eyes on him that he needs, I think this is great for him.
Chris Barnett, 33 years old as of yesterday. One day removed from his 33rd birthday. He would love to cap off his birthday weekend with a win over the likes of Yoel Romero. Beast Boy Chris Barnett is ready to go to work inside the ring. The Soldier of God, Yoel Romero, former UFC title challenger, has some huge MMA wins on his resume. Lyoto Machida, Ronaldo Jacare Souza, Chris Weidman, Luke Rockhold. He's one of those guys that has a grappling background, but in mixed martial arts has really put everything together with strikes. 11 wins by way of knockout. And if I've heard any critique of Yoel Romero, it's that he gets away from his wrestling base. Tonight, we're in store for a treat. All he can really do is wrestle and grapple.
Well, he's got like such a weird style. Like he'll play safe, and then it just explode.
Right.
And then just do things you're like, and you're thinking to yourself like, why didn't he do that 10 minutes ago?
What he did to Chris Weidman was terrifying. Cutting him open with a flying knee.
Just jumping up, cutting. Yeah, this has got like I'm torn on how I think this goes. Like, I don't know. I have no idea how this goes.
Let's find out.
I just know it's going to be fun, though.
It will be. Let's find out. Tail of the tape for our co-main event of the evening here in Pensacola. You see the MMA records there, 13-3 for Romero, 18-6 for Barnett. Romero, 10 years the elder of Beast Boy. Romero stands 3 inches taller. Both have the same reach. All right. For our official introductions for this, our co-main event, here's Christopher James.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our co-main event of the evening. We are here on Ryoulive. Thanks for tuning in, and we're doing it to you right here in Pensacola, Florida. Now, this match is a super grappling match, scheduled for one 10-minute round. The only way to win is by submission. If at the end of the 10-minute time period, we have no winner, the bout will be declared a draw. When the action starts inside, our referee, Mr. Trey Aldor. And now, let's meet our grapplers. First, from the blue corner, standing 5'9", representing Barnett Taekwondo Academy, fighting out of Georgia. Please welcome the one and only Chris Beast Boy Barnett. And his opponent, grappling out of the red corner, standing 6 feet tall, representing American Top Team. He is one of the deadliest fighters in the UFC and a perennial middleweight contender. Make some noise, Pensacola, for the one and only Yoel, Soldier of God, Romero.
Submission grappling match ready to get underway. It is Chris Beast Boy Barnett against former UFC title challenger Yoel Romero. Romero sheds the t-shirt. Barnett doesn't. And it's not a rash guard. It's just a plain old t-shirt.
Plain old t-shirt. I wouldn't be surprised if Yoel Romero picks Barnett up, though. I would not be surprised. Just like lifts him.
That could be terrifying.
Yeah.
Romero.
It'd be impressive.
It would be. Romero, a true world-class wrestler, multiple-time world and Pan Am champion. Mentioned a silver medalist in the 2000 Sydney Games. Barnett doing a little bit of the rope run.
Barnett trying to have some fun. It doesn't look like
That's Huggy Bear right there. That's not Beast Boy, that's Huggy Bear.
Yeah, that's Huggy Bear. That's Huggy Bear right there. But Romero doesn't look to be playing as much as
he does.
Huggy Bear.
He doesn't.
It's like he didn't come out here to play. I don't think he got the memo.
I don't think Romero ever comes out to play. Not in competition.
Yeah. I mean, when you talk about an Olympic silver medalist, he doesn't know anything different than just to win, compete to win.
Another thing about Romero, 42 years old, like he's still an elite level competitor. Like his window for being an athlete seems to be endless.
Yeah, which is kind of embarrassing for me because I'm 42 and I'm always like.
Nicely done there by Romero.
Nice
top position.
Top position.
Looked like Barnett was maybe trying to think about a Kimura or isolating that left arm of Romero, but Romero Now on the back here of Barnett.
Yeah, that was a mistake for, well,
Barnett, I think, feels if he gets a base underneath him, he can get back to his feet, but...
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine. I don't know what his guard play is like, but...
Rolling through there. You see, there's a big size advantage here for Chris Barnett. And the difference is for Barnett, generally when there's a size advantage like this, it means that the bigger man isn't necessarily the athlete of the smaller man. And I'm not saying that Chris Barnett is the athlete that Yoel Romero is, but he's not a typical guy that weighs 280 pounds.
No. He's a much better athlete than many people will give him credit for. And that's why I think this match is so intriguing, because he is such a great athlete. And when you see him, you don't realize it until you watch him move and watch some of the things that he's capable of doing.
It's a very long 10-minute round here, and while the pace may slow at times, you would look at someone like Chris Barnett and go, okay, well, he's got limited life in the gas tank. He can go for 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if he's ever been tired in a fight. I mean, he's so good at managing his energy and having fun and just keeping it moving.
Gives up his back again, does Barnett. He goes belly down, and Romero can't really get his hooks in when he does that. Yoel needs to sort of figure out what his attack is here. Now Barnett with a base underneath him, trying to stand back up, and Yoel drags that leg out.
That looked almost painful. But again, with Chris Barnett being as flexible as he is, again, it's not something you normally see from a big guy like that. It was nothing for him.
Side control now for Romero, trying to frame up maybe that Kimura on the left arm. He definitely has it. Does he need to step over the head? He might be able to finish it here.
You see Barnett's hand ready to tap.
Barnett tap. There you go. Wise move by Chris Barnett. He doesn't get hurt. Yoel Romero gets the victory. Fun fight.
Yeah, very.
You know, I like the grappling match.
Yeah.
And Barnett, while he comes up short, I'm sure he's happy with his performance. I mean, he went in there with Yoel Romero, a Olympian, a medalist, a true UFC warrior, middleweight contender, and good experience for Beast Boy Chris Barnett, but tonight belongs to Yoel Romero. Nice sign of sportsmanship. Romero showing off that grappling ability. Very controlling in the wrestling department. We saw that submission skill on display as well. Here's some of the action. Romero able to get Barnett on the floor, secured that position. Barnett very confident in giving his back, able to roll out of that position right there. And a world-class shot by Yoel Romero, sweeping the leg out from underneath Barnett. That looked dangerous, and that's definitely dangerous. Kimura getting it done. Yoel Romero victorious here in Pensacola. For our official time of the stoppage, here's Christopher James.
Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, let's hear for Chris Barnett and Yoel Romero. I just want to let you guys know before I announce the official decision, a lot of the proceeds from tonight's event is going to Bully Proof Foundation. They help kids who are victims of bullying, and that's why these gentlemen are here tonight. So give it up for them one more time. Our referee, Trey Aldor, called a halt at about 3:54. Declare your winner by submission due to a Kimura. Yoel, Soldier of God, Romero.
Yoel Romero getting it done. Kimura stoppage of Chris Barnett. He'll speak with Dean Thomas.
First off, congratulations on your performance. What was your strategy going into this match facing a guy as big as Chris Barnett?
Strategia que tú tienes para Chris Barnett?
You know, the phrase is thank you guys for coming here and support for everybody. Thank you so much. You know, man, he's a big guy. I say, I need careful, slowly move. I see what I want to see what he has, and I thank you guys. Give it a Kimura, and I can finalize him. It's strong. It's strong.
He seemed to play around a bit and try to get you out of your game, but you stayed focused the entire time. You didn't have none of the shenanigans that he was playing.
Yeah, but it is what it is. You know, these guys, you need to do what you need to do here, you know. When I see I can take a hand down, that's what I do, and I finish.
When do we expect to see you next inside the UFC?
You know, August 17th in California. And what is the city? Anaheim. For Paulo Costa. As I combat, I my hands right now is beating him. I go for my belt. That's what I'm thinking right now.
Well, we hope you get your belt back. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for Yoel Romero.
Yoel Romero victorious tonight here in Pensacola in our co-main event. He submits Chris Barnett. Solid performance by the soldier of God, the soft-spoken savage, Yoel Romero, getting it done here in Pensacola. All right, our main event headed your way next. Jorge Gamebred Masvidal, Anthony Showtime Pettis. You're watching Dean Toole Promotions.
My name is Jorge Gamebred Masvidal. I'm from Miami, Florida, born and raised here. And I love this. I love to compete. I love to grapple. I've been grappling, obviously, my whole life as well.
My name is Anthony Showtime Pettis, UFC lightweight, welterweight, featherweight. I fought in every weight class in the UFC around my weight class. Martial arts is my life. I've been doing martial arts my whole life, pretty much every day.
And I think Pettis actually is a stud grappler. He has some good submissions over some guys that I know are sound grapplers, like Gilbert Melendez and Ben Henderson. He made both those guys tap. So I know Pettis can be extra clutch. If there's something, the number one attribute I'd give to him wouldn't be power, speed, or toughness, or strength. It'd be his clutch ability to pull huge wins off when he needs them, you know, like he could just find a way to win.
I grew up watching George fight on the internet, you know, watching him fight with Kimbo in the backyards in Miami. So, you know, I'm a fan of George. Me and George know each other. We definitely had the same management, first-round management. You know, it's one of them guys I've been around for a long time. I respect his skill set. I don't know much about his grappling game. I've seen him, you know, obviously with punches it's different. I'm interested to go test my skill set. I know he's a game guy. He always comes to fight.
I'll just wear him down. Just wear him down physically, then mentally, and then he'll just give into my will. It's not a question in my mind, you know. He's, like I said, he's very good. I respect his skill set. He's a very strong competitor, especially with the submissions. But I've never walked into a grappling match or a fight thinking that the other guy's better.
I most definitely think I got the advantage over George. I think he's definitely a tough guy, but when it comes down to the skills and to the actual techniques, and I've put the time in, I've earned my ranks, and I'm very confident in my submission skills.
I'm always betting on me, and if I'm wrong, so be it. Let's find out, you know, but I'm going to give it everything I have in me to make sure I come out with the victory, you know?
So, you know, I'm excited to go out there and show off.
The main event has arrived. Jorge Gamebred Masvidal, Anthony Showtime Pettis. Two mixed martial artists known all over the world for their exciting styles. And tonight we see them grapple here in Pensacola. Anthony Showtime Pettis really took the MMA world by storm 9 years ago when he was 23 years old. Jumped off the fence, kicked Ben Henderson in the head. Nearly knocked him out, claimed the WEC title. They called it the Showtime kick. He ended up on a Wheaties box. He's truly one of the all-time greats in the UFC.
He sure is, man. I mean, I love this matchup, man. I mean, the fact that we get to see these two guys compete at anything is a blessing. You know, Masvidal is a Florida legend. You know, not only from his MMA career, but he started in the backyard.
The boatyard.
He started fighting in the streets here. And the fact that we get a chance to see these two compete just weeks before they're going to fight is incredible.
And Anthony Showtime Pettis, we talk about that Showtime kick and how he won that title against Benson Henderson in the WEC. Let's not forget that he submitted Benson Henderson in the UFC and claimed the UFC title that same way by beating Benson Henderson. And if you look at all the victories of Anthony Pettis, 18 of his 22 wins come by way of stoppage, 10 by way of knockout, 8 by way of submission. So to say that this man is a striker, that it's almost disrespectful to his ground game.
No, he's got a great ground game, especially a bottom game. And I think he's going to need that tonight because I'm going to give the advantage of wrestling to George Masvidal. George has spent a tremendous amount of time working on his wrestling. I don't see Pettis being able to put George on his back. I see George putting Pettis on his back early, and then we're going to see some legit old-school guard play.
Anthony Showtime Pettis tonight in Pensacola looks to put on a show against Jorge Masvidal. You want to talk about being a legend? Sure. Masvidal is a Florida legend. He's a combat sports legend. And honestly, in my opinion, Dean, he's a few decisions going his way that didn't go his way from being really one of the all-time great lightweights. He's now fighting at welterweight. Will actually take on Anthony Pettis' teammate and Ben Askren here in just a few weeks. But looking at Masvidal, he's a guy that is very rarely finished. He's lost 13 fights in his MMA career, only 3 by way of stoppage. And then you start to look at his decisions. He's lost 10 decisions.
And probably, go ahead, finish,
but listen to this, 10 decisions, 5 of them were split. So you're looking at his decisions, half of those decisions that didn't go his way, one judge thought he won the fight.
Yeah, and I'm sure he thought he won the fight, which is why he probably didn't close it out, because he's had a history of just stepping off the gas because it was too easy for him.
Masvidal, I think, is a prime example of a fighter playing a combat sports game where maybe someone gets their hand raised, but if we were in the boatyard, we'd be saying, well, Jorge Masvidal won the fight.
Yeah, oh, for sure, for sure. You know, when you think about his fights against Ally and Kenta, and even I was there when he fought Benson Henderson, it was just so easy for him that he thought he was winning, he was coasting. Meanwhile, you know, the activity, the other guy was trying so hard to win that the judges was like, wow, boy, I guess he's trying harder, so we're going to give him the win. But Masvidal has always been that guy who just coasted his way into decision losses, and which could have easily been wins for him.
Jorge Gamebred Masvidal, Anthony Showtime Pettis, our main event. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape for this grappling affair. 34 years old is Gamebred, 2 years the elder of Anthony Showtime Pettis. Masvidal, 1 inch taller. He has a 1 inch reach advantage, if you want to call it that. Grappling tonight, Masvidal versus Pettis. For our official introductions, here's Christopher James.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you all ready for the main event of the night? Pensacola, we're happy to be here with you tonight with Dean Toole Promotions. And to all you watching on Ryoulive, thanks for buying the pay-per-view. Thanks for tuning in. And now, let's get down to action. This bout is being brought to you by our good friends at Banks Construction and is scheduled for one 10-minute round. If at the end of that round, we do not have a winner by submission, the bout will be declared a draw. And now, let's meet our grapplers. Introducing first, grappling out of the blue corner. Standing 5'10" and representing Rufus Sport MMA. Fighting out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He is the former WEC and UFC lightweight champion of the world, Anthony Showtime Pettis. And his opponent, grappling out of the red corner. Standing 5'11", representing American Top Team. Fighting out of Miami, Florida. He is a perennial UFC contender and Mr. Three-Piece and a Soda. Please welcome Jorge Gamebred Masvidal.
1 10-minute round here in Pensacola. Final instructions to our grapplers.
Let's have fun. Guys, let's have fun. Let's get a submission and have fun. Let's get it.
Anthony Showtime Pettis, Jorge Gamebred Masvidal. This is our main event here in Pensacola. TJ DeSantis, Dean Thomas. 1 10-minute round here between these two fighters to sort it all out. Tie up early here.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if Pettis pulls guard. I don't know if he'll do it early, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does pull guard. I don't think he wants to really tangle with Masvidal too much on the wrestling.
There, Pettis goes for a takedown.
But I think that's, you know, just a decoy.
Both these men fighting at welterweight now in the UFC, but they spent a considerable time at lightweight. But really equally sized. It's not that one fighter is really all that much bigger than the other.
Right, and I mean, they're both coming off the biggest wins of their career, and in which we felt like they were going to be undersized in those fights. You know, both of them knocking out, respectively, Darren Till and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
Controlling the back now of Pettis is Masvidal. Pettis goes to a knee. Masvidal thought about trying to get that hook in. He bails on it.
Interesting to see how Masvidal deals with this being in the corner like that, because he's kind of limiting himself with his movement of what he can do in that corner.
Pettis back to his feet. Pensacola Bay Center kind of splitting their support here. Some chance for Pettis. You mentioned Masvidal, really a legend in these parts.
Well, that's South Florida. This is a little different. We don't claim.
It's still Florida. It's still Florida. King of the Boatyard. From the Boatyard to the bright lights, Masvidal takes on Pettis' teammate Ben Askren here in a couple weeks. Wonder if there's any intel gathering here for Pettis grappling against Masvidal.
I don't think so. You know, I think it's not a lot you can tell from a situation like this.
And Masvidal's not going to have this approach against Ben Askren.
Yeah, right.
Pettis not afraid to give up his back here to Masvidal. Masvidal really hasn't tried to get the hooks in.
No, well, you know, I think that's kind of Pettis' style. See, and there it goes right there. I knew he would want to get to his guard eventually. But I think he was just waiting his time. He didn't want to spend 10 minutes in his guard, but, you know, I think his time kind of dwindles down. He's going to want to give himself an opportunity to start throwing up some submissions here.
Pettis goes inverted, and Masvidal kind of disengages. All fun and games.
But this is not something you'd see anything different from like EBI, right? You'd see something like that.
I don't know if I've ever seen someone do an inverted butt scoot towards someone at EBI, but...
Maybe not EBI, but I've seen that in videos.
Sure.
Yeah, and I've always wondered about that.
Pettis, his nickname is Showtime. He's here to put on a show. I think a lot of respect here from both of these guys as well. I mean, Pettis on his seat. Masvidal doesn't really want to go and dive into the guard of Pettis, and I think that's a sign of respect.
Yeah. This is a strong spot for, yeah, there he goes. It's a strong spot for Masvidal, that Darce choke. He's got a great Darce, but Pettis was hip to it and got his chest down onto the floor.
Masvidal trying to put some weight on Pettis. Pettis able to get to a knee now, back to his feet. Working a Kimura. As Pettis, he bails on it. Six minutes remain here.
Pettis kind of playing possum. I think he's waiting for Masvidal to make a mistake, and I think he might be waiting for him to shoot to make a mistake to hit his guillotine. Pettis has got a great guillotine. If you look at his resume, most of those submission wins are done by guillotine. Maybe not most of them, but a good portion.
Mentioned the submission of Benson Henderson. It was an arm bar that earned Pettis a UFC title back in August of 2013. Mentioned the guillotine. He did submit Charles Do Bronx Oliveira in 2016 with the guillotine. It's interesting, between these two gentlemen, they both own a submission over Michael Chiesa, who has a very well-respected ground game in mixed martial arts, and Chiesa's only been submitted 3 times in his entire career, and you're looking at 2 guys that did it. Halfway point here of this round. I would say regulation, but it's the only round. We don't go to overtime. If we fail to get a submission here in this 10 minutes, the bout will be declared a draw. And truly, this is a thrill to see two high-level athletes like this grapple.
Yeah.
And it's for charity. This is a bully-proof fundraising event. We appreciate everyone joining us on Ryoulive, all for a good cause tonight. And when Masvidal heard about this event, he absolutely signed on immediately. Bully-proof helps kids in tough situations get into the gym. Right now, speaking of tough situations, Masvidal trying to put Pettis in one, maybe trying to frame up a arm triangle if he's able to get off to the side there, but he's got that hook in, and Pettis seems to be aware of the attack.
Yeah, Masvidal putting a lot of pressure on Pettis. Again, Pettis, you know, that's his grappling style. It's very lackadaisical, but he's waiting for a mistake. And if Masvidal gives him an opening, you will see him attack it.
Pettis able to get free. Now jumping guillotine for showtime.
Again, and that's what I was saying. Like he just jumps at you. Like he plays very lackadaisical, get you off your guard, and then goes for it.
He'll jump off the cage and kick you in the head, or just jump straight up in the air and put you in a guillotine. Now back on the feet.
You see him playing possum, just kind of scooting over, not even looking at him. Again, he tries a leg attack there.
I think we're seeing two high-level professional athletes with big fights coming up for themselves. You know, Masvidal fighting Askren, Anthony Pettis fighting Nate Diaz, and they're here competing. This isn't just a demo. This isn't an exhibition. These guys want to win.
Yeah, and I love the fact that they have come out here to compete, you know, within weeks of their fights, because, you know, they're just revving their bodies up and getting used to competing in front of an audience.
You were talking about, you know, the walk that is made by the amateur fighters. They need to get used to that. It's never a bad thing for fighters like these guys at the highest level to make that walk and just, you know, kind of knock the rust off.
Absolutely not, and this is why they're here, is to make that walk, get used to this, get used to having a person in front of you that's trying to beat you, and you're trying to beat that other person. Now, obviously, the ramifications aren't as much as a UFC fight, but they still get to enjoy it and get to feel it and know what it's like again.
Trying to grab a hold of that neck again for a choke is Masvidal. Touch over 2 minutes remain here in the contest. Again, TJ DeSantis, Dean Thomas, Pensacola Bay Center here in Pensacola, Florida. Trying to get a takedown now of his own is Anthony Pettis. Masvidal wise to it, now back at the feet.
Yeah, Masvidal scrambled out of that with everything. And that was what I said earlier. I don't think that Pettis will be able to get Masvidal onto his back. You know, Masvidal has spent a tremendous amount of time in the wrestling room and just focusing on wrestling so that never happens to him.
Masvidal utilizing that strength to get control. The back of Pettis, able to pick him up, put him on the floor. We've yet to see Masvidal really put in a hook here and try to control the back of Pettis. See if he changes things up here in the final 75 seconds.
There's something about Pettis that he's doing to Masvidal that's keeping him from doing that. And there's a feeling that he's getting that it's uncomfortable. So he's not trusting it, because you know that Pettis is setting him up for something.
Final minute of the match. Pettis trying to grab a hold of that right leg of Masvidal. Masvidal again on the neck of Pettis. Pettis wise to it. 45 seconds left.
Yeah, Pettis, a black belt from Daniel Wanderlei from Milwaukee. Very tricky, crafty ground game.
Masvidal now here in side control. 30 seconds remain.
He sees, again, he plays possum. He tries to bait you into feeling like you're doing good, and then he catches you with something.
Trying to trip up Masvidal. Masvidal laughing it off. Final 15 seconds of the match. Time is going to expire, but not before Anthony Pettis jumps on something. Nothing there, and that's a wrap. Jorge Gamebred Masvidal, Anthony Showtime Pettis. They grappled to a draw. What a treat that was, Dean Thomas.
Yeah, that was a treat. That was a lot of fun to watch. And these guys, they didn't have to come out here, and they did just for our entertainment.
Two UFC warriors with huge fights in their careers upcoming and not afraid to put it on the line and showcase their grappling skills. And for both of these guys, where it's mixed martial arts all the time, I'm sure this was a treat for them to come out and grapple against a high-level opponent.
You know, they've never competed against each other, and to have, you know, to come out here and compete in this safe environment, so to say, it had to be fun for them.
See, Masvidal, he had the control of the neck there of Pettis and utilized some wrestling to get Anthony to the floor. Looked like he was going to try to break off to the side for maybe an arm triangle, but Pettis was wise to it. Really good display of defensive and offensive grappling from both of these guys. Pettis tried to jump that guillotine. Masvidal wise to it, and he's still having some fun inside the ring. Our main event does not disappoint. Anthony Showtime Pettis, Jorge Gamebred Masvidal. To make this one official, we will throw it to Christopher James.
Ladies and gentlemen, y'all better make some noise for these two men putting on a hell of a show. The match goes the full 10 minutes. Our referee, Trey Aldor, calls it a draw. And now we're gonna have both these guys speaking with our own Dean Thomas.
Man, that was a lot of fun for us to watch. How was that for you, Anthony?
I always have a good time out here. Jorge's just one of the tough guys, man. You want to play with my guard, smart for him, strong on top. It was a fun fight.
It was interesting to see you guys compete. We've never seen you guys compete. Is there anything that you felt from him that surprised you?
He has good awareness, man. Like every time I was like spading him for something, he would pull back, put a guard up, get the space. So yeah, he just good awareness. And he's strong, tough dude.
So obviously you got a big fight coming up. Tell us about that.
Nate Diaz, make sure you guys are tuning in August 17th. Me and Nate Diaz throwing down. Tune in for that.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Anthony Showtime Pettis. Where's George? George, come on over here. Same thing for you, man. That was a lot of fun to watch. Is there anything that surprised you about Anthony Pettis?
Well, I knew that he'd be pulling the slick stuff, you know. He likes to act docile like he's asleep and then explode with up. Sorry about that. Man, I know how he is, man. He's a slick dude. He likes to lure people to sleep and then go. So I was very cautious of that, you know?
It seemed to catch you off guard almost with the jumping guillotine. How close was that?
Part close because he was wrapped around the chin, but I saw it. I recognized it once he jumped up and he kicked him, but he did get it for a second, you know? It was pretty tight.
Now, you obviously got a pretty big fight coming up, too. Tell us about that.
July 6th, watch some real-life violence. If you like violence, tune in July 6th.
Who are you fighting?
Some nobody motherfucker, some dead motherfucker.
That's all that counts. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for Jorge Masvidal.
Jorge Gamebred Masvidal, Anthony Showtime Pettis. What a fun show that was in our main event. By the way, Jorge Masvidal, he takes on Ben Askren coming up July 6th in Las Vegas. What a night it was in Pensacola inside the Bay Center. We saw a variety of up-and-coming fighters showcase their talents, not only in mixed martial arts, but in boxing and, of course, submission grappling. Supreme Patty, he put it all on the line. He got in the ring tonight, made his amateur boxing debut, but it was Rudy Prieto that reigned supreme. He earned a decision with a lot of these punches here, finding a home. Supreme Patty, game to say the least, but unfortunately for him, it was Rudy Prieto's night as he earned a unanimous decision here in Pensacola. Rudy Prieto getting it done. In our co-main event, Yoel Romero took on Chris Barnett. It was a fun fight. First, we saw some up-and-coming middleweights go to war. Esti Dumas victorious over Mike Lee. That was a fun fight, to say the least. Dumas getting it done. Then we saw in our main event, Anthony Showtime Pettis, Jorge Gamebred Masvidal. 10 minutes to try to sort it out. They went tit for tat. Flying guillotine attempt there for Pettis, but it was a draw. For Dean Thomas, I'm TJ DeSantis. Good night from Pensacola.